and telling folks about our show.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a Mexican Crossing Lines here on 88.1 FM KPPPLP Fargo Moorhead, where we are adding local color to your airwaves. And tonight's topic, I have named it The Gift of Gab.
The Gift of Gab.
Yep. It's kind of reminds me of this Mexican saying we have, which is, si hay tacos de lengua, me como dos. And it's a commentary about people that have the gift of gab, people that have the ability
To speak.
not just to speak,
to gab. Keep on talking.
to gab, to use the words in a way. What the translation of what I just said was the saying is, if there's tongue tacos, I'll take two. And it's about the fact that the tongue has no bone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in Spanish, when we talk about the tongue and we talk about the tongue having no bone, it's not something that can break. It's not something that it's like it has the ability to lie, basically, right?
Okay.
So when someone says, if there's tongue tacos, I'll take two, it means, that person is a gabber. They're good at making the stories.
I see.
And a lot of the folks that we have seen are gabbers. They're very much about the gabbing and the storytelling. They're very much about, the stories that they've told about themselves from their escapades at Standing Rock and what they're doing now, and a lot of their origin stories, as I was telling people in my last show, even of these politicians, is Standing Rock.
Yeah.
We found out that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez went to Standing Rock, and she was part of a ceremony.
And she's inspired. Her whole political career came about because of that. And like I was saying in the past couple of shows, the idea that people, if they were at Standing Rock, that's their street cred, and it's like, because it's one of the largest gathering of indigenous people in over 100 years, and it was a protest camp. So all sorts of people, you'll hear them talk, say, well, I wasn't at Standing Rock, but I know all this stuff. But it's like there's this credibility that they give themselves for being there, and people did so many different things at Standing Rock, and it's just like, and then it's like a lot of these people are using it that this is this big thing that happened in their life, and it launched them into a new way of being, and running for political office and taking over things, making lots of money, doing junket tours, doing speaking engagements, it goes on and on and on. Those are the gabbers for sure.
Yeah, and of course they make the media rounds to these specific media places where they all end up getting featured, and then they just, it's a pattern that I'm starting to notice, and how these people have gotten developed as personalities, characters, political figures, media figures, etc. And I was talking about this on my last show, Desert Storm, and also Glitterati, where I was connecting all of the people that were coming out of these campaigns, specifically the one connected to Bernie Sanders, which Winnie Wong works for. She, of course, is one of the women that was working on the camp jointly with Wes's PR person, Seven McDonald. Right. And Desiree Kane, their organizer, as Winnie Wong and others on that thread I showed you before were talking about, right? So I wanted to pick up where we left off.
Okay.
But first, I want to give a shout out to somebody that sent us in a really nice message
Yeah.
from the UK. You want to read that, Duke? It's
Yeah,
from
it's
Lee Anthony Beat.
Beat.
Mr. Beat.
Mr. Beat, and to 88.1 FM Fargo Moorhead. Hi, me and my family are huge fans of the station. We never miss a show. We would love it if we could get a mention, please, from Lee Beat and the Beat family, listening from Birmingham, UK. Shout out.
Beat family.
Shout out to the Beat family.
Thank you so much for that lovely message and for listening. Wow, we have worldwide following. It's always incredible to me when we get messages from across the globe. How many people have been following our shows and are reporting on Standing Rock, and it was so critical because there wasn't a lot of accurate reporting coming out of Standing Rock, and of course now we've learned a lot of it was being, reported by many of these so-called news organizations that popped up there that were fake, that are still running around the globe promoting a bunch of propaganda. It's very disturbing, and I think as people have become more aware that they were duped, it starts to, make them ask, okay, if all these people were actors, if all this was orchestrated, if this was this massive operation, why?
Yeah, why?
Why was it done? And what's the purpose of covering up your real agenda?
Yeah.
Well, I recommend that you all check out the 6-part series that I did on fake progressive agendas and some of the ways that those are funded and some of the stuff that was funding, that is still funding the people that went out to Standing Rock, many of the nonprofit groups and organizers. So that will help you understand one of the reasons or one of the whys behind this chaos that was created.
Yeah.
And another would be watching a recently released Last Word show, which is available on HBO, by John Oliver. You can also watch the clip that I'm about to show you about astroturfing on YouTube, and Nemo will share that link along with the comments in the show so that people can go find it. We're just going to show you a short clip of it here.
Yeah. Before we do that, you mentioned going back and watching these shows, and what's really important is that we don't broadcast on the internet anymore. And so if people are listening to us in UK, you're going to Facebook. But there's another way. We run a website called kpppfm.com. And if you go there, we've been putting all of our shows up, and the actual podcasts, and many of those podcasts we actually run on the air here on 88.1 FM. And so the people in this community can listen to the audio portion of the show. And then we've been taking the Facebook Live videos and putting them on YouTube, and we embed that all in a page so you can see it. So you can go to the Glitterati, for example, and see the show. It's hosted on YouTube, but then also the audio podcast and the links we have in there. But that's one way to go to kpppfm.com. If you go to the archives, you can see all the shows, but then you can go to the programs, go to a Mexican Crossing Line, and see just specific shows that have been done by Cindy and myself for a Mexican Crossing Lines. And also on that page, you can contact us. You can do a contact form and send us, a message. You can go right there at the bottom of your screen, 701-566-0917. That's a message line. You can call us and leave a message, a voicemail, and some people have done that. Some people have called to complain. Some people have called to harass us. Some people have called to compliment us. And some people have called to give us information. You can do it that way, or you can do email, Cindy@kpppfm.com, or me, Duke, at kpppfm.com, or Nemo at kpppfm.com. And you can go to our pages on Facebook, the 88.1 FM Fargo Moorhead, the People's Press Project, the Mexi-Can. You can find Cindy on a public page at Cindy Gomez-Schempp. So there's many ways to get a hold of us, many ways to get us messages, and we do read them. And like I've said in almost every show is that if we haven't gotten back to you, if we haven't responded, it doesn't mean we haven't seen it. because we do comb through everything that we put out and everything that comes to us. We just might not have gotten to it because these shows is a great show you're going to see tonight, but it takes quite a bit of research and focus to focus on this subject and these subjects and lead to the next subject. And we take the things that people send us and we put them in the mix of when we're going to bring those things up and where they fit. So you might hear your stuff come out, several shows after you sent it in. So there's lots of ways. We do appreciate it, and also don't forget to donate. To us. We're a non-profit organization. We're a 501c3 registered with federal government and state governments, and we're a non-profit station. We basically exist with a small budget, for the tower and the equipment, and we're all volunteer. So any funding that we'd receive would go directly to the cost of the station, and you can donate at kpppfm.com/donate.
Thank you. We appreciate those donations, your support, and the fact that you share our stories and spread the news of what we've been reporting on, specifically Standing Rock and the exoneration of Kathleen Bennett, which kind of led us down this rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Figuring out all of these figures, all of these people associated, and what they were up to. So this video, which I mentioned that you were going to play next, is the explanation of the why behind this. It's called astroturfing. Here it is.
Astroturfing, which sounds like a new teen trend of fucking artificial grass while eating Cascade pods. That's right, the teens have moved on from Tide. It's all about Cascade now. Astroturfing is the practice of corporations or political groups disguising themselves as spontaneous, authentic popular movements. It's basically fake grassroots. That's why they call it astroturfing. It's a very funny, very clever name. Now, you are probably familiar with astroturfing as a concept from seeing ads by groups with generic, populist-sounding names like Americans Against Food Taxes, delivering weirdly specific messages like these.
Washington is talking about a new tax on juice drinks and soda. They say it's only pennies. Well, those pennies add up when you're trying to feed a family. Washington, if you're listening, what doesn't seem like much to you can be a lot to us.
Tell Congress, no taxes on juice drinks and sodas.
Now, it won't surprise you to learn that Americans Against Food Taxes was not started by regular Americans pooling their resources together to take out a large ad buy on national TV about their #1 problem priority, a proposed soda tax. No, it was a front group for the food and beverage industry, which makes a lot more sense. Soda companies have a lot of money, at least enough to convince LeBron James to pretend he drinks Sprite. Sprite! Diabetes you can taste. And while you might think, well, yeah, but that's obvious, I'd never fall for AstroTurf bullshit like that, don't be quite so sure. Because with dark money surging in the wake of decisions like Citizens United, AstroTurf techniques are now becoming more sophisticated, effective, and dangerous, and they are not going away. So tonight, we thought it might be useful to take a look at some of those techniques to help us better spot them in the future. And let's just start with the names themselves. Because sometimes groups are created with deliberately misleading names. For instance, the group Save Our Tips, which purportedly speaks for waitstaff, is an anti-minimum wage increase group funded by restaurant owners. The National Wetlands Coalition worked on behalf of oil companies and real estate developers, and the American Council on Science and Health has been funded by, among other things, fracking interests, soda companies, e-cigarette companies, and chemical manufacturers. So it's pure, straight-up opposite world. It's like if this show was called Funny Time Happy Hour with Chuckle Hunk John Oliver. It's just demonstrably false. We can't back that shit up. And look, it's not always easy to spot exactly what a group's motive is, especially with an ad like this.
Donate here, and I'm mad. What's with you people tossing money at the Humane Society of the United States? These HSUS losers aren't even affiliated with your local pet shelter. For more information, go to humanewatch.org.
That is a very strange ad, because first of all, if you're going to have a talking dog, why would you make him such a gruff arsehole? Hey, I'm Tony and I'm mad. The Humane Society's a bunch of losers, and if you disagree, you can suck my dog dick. And second, who would take out an attack ad on the Humane Society? A rival, even humaner society? Puppy mills? Self-loathing dogs? It's impossible to say for sure. All I can tell you is that ad is the work of Rick Berman, a PR expert who's known in the industry as Dr. Evil. He is known for his defenses of controversial products, from secondhand smoke to trans fats to payday loans. He's also created non-profit groups that have fought regulation of all of those things. In fact, it's one of those groups, the Center for Consumer Freedom, which was credited on that Humane Society attack ad. So, is the Center for Consumer Freedom a front group for Berman's corporate clients? Is it at all relevant that Rick Berman has shown up at events for the pork industry and industry which has been targeted by the Humane Society in the past for the use of gestation crates, or, as Rick Berman insists on calling them, maternity pens? I can't say. I legally can't say. I want to. I badly want to. But I've been explicitly told I can't. You can probably guess, but I can't say it out loud. What I can say is that Berman rejects any accusation that he runs front groups for corporate clients, saying there is no front because there is total transparency, which is a little odd considering we don't.
I'm going to show you of that. It's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
You want to watch.
I want to keep on watching that. Yeah.
I know it's good. It's really good. And sometimes I feel something is so important for our audience to understand or to learn about that I will read it. I'll go through it. I'll walk with, I'll walk through it just like I do with you and the kids. If I really want you to hear something, I'll sit down and I'll read it to you and we'll discuss it.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel that way about this, but it's just too long and we don't have time. So I just kind of wanted to bait you into going and checking that out. Again, we'll share that link on this program so you can go find it more easily. It's called AstroTurfing. It's on HBO, John Oliver. And now let's start kind of where we left off. I wanted to give you an update. Here is a piece from CNN that talks a little bit more about where I left off on our last show, Desert Storm, in which I told you about how the glitterati and the people that were working on Bernie Sanders' campaign and that ended up going out to Standing Rock were connected to a horrible tragedy that happened out in the desert where a compound of people was found, including 11 children, one of whom is dead.
Yeah.
A little boy. And there is so much more to that story. I told you some of the stuff I found about not just what happened out in the desert, but the grandfather, who's the imam of a Brooklyn masjid called At Taqwa, and the allegations and the findings of and convictions of certain members of that mosque, and those being charges tied to terrorism, and how those people are connected to Linda Sarsour, who's working with Winnie Wong and working very closely with the Bernie Sanders campaign.
Yes.
And how those people are also connected to the BDS movement, the Boycott, Divest, and Sanction movement that got 2 people arrested by the Israeli government and deported. That was a part of the justice delegation. It included 2 people from Standing Rock.
Yeah.
Chase Iron Eyes.
Yes.
And Tara Hauska. Remember that?
Yes.
So I wanted to give you a little bit more detail, things that you don't know, that you should know, that you should go check out. Because in addition to all of the stuff that I told you that we'd found out happened out there, by the way, I wanted to make one correction. I showed the daughter of whom I thought was the security guy, but it's one of the imams. It's the imam's daughter.
I see.
So I wanted to make that correction. The daughter that I said that was the motivational speaker, and I showed her I think her LinkedIn page. That's the daughter of the imam. So, excuse me, I wanted to give you this update about what I have learned since then, including that the group of people prior to this raid had been in a car accident. And in the vehicle during the car accident, which resulted in the car being flipped, some of the people even having to go to the hospital due to their injuries, were the kids. The kids were in the vehicle when this car accident happened. And also the guns. And somehow, and the police were there. And somehow the children slipped through their fingers. The whole situation.
And the guns.
Yes, all of that just slipped through the cracks somehow. Leading to this tragedy where there was a raid and there's a dead baby inside. In addition to that, I wanted you to see this from CNN. It says that the boy suffered from seizures that required constant care and medical attention. His mother, Hamika Ramzi, previously told CNN. After a trip to Saudi Arabia, so remember the passport that they found on site?
Yes.
That belonged to Siraj Wahaj, and he had used it when he was in Saudi Arabia prior to coming here. In fact, he said that when he was in Saudi Arabia and was around only Muslim people, all Muslim people, that's when he knew he didn't want to be around non-Muslims anymore.
Yeah.
And when he came back to the United States, this prompted him to go out to the desert. And of course, I guess he also stopped and kidnapped his kid. And this is the reason that he was in the UK. I know that he went to see an imam in the UK. He learned some kind of ritual or something. But Siraj Wahaj said he wanted to stop giving his son medication for the seizures that he suffered and his medical condition, and wanted instead to perform rituals to, quote, cast demoned spirits out of his body, out of his son's body. This was what Ramzi, the mother of the child, told investigators, according to prosecutor John Lovelace.
Wow.
So, in addition to all the things that I told you about were involved, there is also exorcism, rituals, allegations of witchcraft. There's a whole lot more.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
It is.
It's actually not just crazy. It's incredible. It's almost too much to believe that all of this was going on and nothing stopped it from happening. And all of the things that occurred, including, like I said, a car accident where the car was flipped,
cops.
the children were involved, and the guns were there. And they got away.
Yeah.
So that's all for now on that. And I also wanted to mention really quickly, because we covered it, Darren Patterson, the man that I reported about killing a Native American man here in the downtown of Fargo, at the Hodo, outside, of the Hodo, in the street, violently punching him and killing him. A man with a violent past of doing this kind of violence, with prior conviction for doing exactly this kind of violence. Also at a bar.
Yeah.
Basically got away with murder. He got 18 months after killing a man
Yeah.
in our downtown.
Wow.
Mr. Peterson.
Mm-hmm.
It's
That's really sad. That's and unjust, and it took a long time too. But he had some highfalutin lawyers and money behind him, So it's like that's really sad. We actually have the original show we did on kpppfm.com, so you can listen and watch what we put out there. It was quite a while ago, and his trial kept on getting postponed and postponed and postponed, and now they've basically tried him and without very much media attention. It's escaped all the media attention because they waited so long.
The headline was even disturbing to me because it said that Darren Patterson was sentenced for 18 months for fatally punching a man in downtown. He killed him. You can't even say the word.
Yeah.
Like he killed Jamie Grant.
Yeah.
And
Jamie
left
Grant.
his child orphaned of his dad.
Mm-hmm.
I think his son was only 3. I mean,
Yeah.
he had like a miracle baby.
Mm-hmm.
He'd always really wanted to have one, and they had a lot of trouble.
Wow.
And they finally. They had their miracle baby.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, it's so heart-wrenching. This
Yeah, it
guy's
is.
not even from here anymore. He now lives, the murderer, now lives in Vegas. 18 months, that's
Wow.
it.
Wow.
Very heartbreaking story. If you want to hear everything about that, you can go back to the archives of our show on kpppfm.com.
That's right.
So those are all the updates that I have for you. Now we can really get into
The show.
But do think about the concept of astroturfing. If that little clip helped you to imagine that you're basically building fake grassroots, right?
Yeah.
And you're co-opting for a different agenda. That's kind of what we have seen. And I wanted to start off kind of where I told folks I was going to leave off on my last show, which was Tulsi Gabbard, because I talked about this Linda Sarsour with the Women's March.
Yep.
How she went to Standing Rock. How Tulsi Gabbard was at Standing Rock, and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Yes.
And so I want to go back to this Jacobin article and tell you a little bit about it, because I don't think people really paid attention. Oh, and this is the 7 McDonald picture. See how she was kind of one of their people that was being handled by their PR people?
Mm-hmm.
7 McDonald. These same Hollywood people were involved at Standing Rock. This was prior to Standing Rock. There's Tulsi. With none other than Activate Now, Ed Higgins here.
Yeah.
Next to Tulsi on the other side is Jesse Ilnicki.
Mm-hmm.
And oops, why did you take that away? And then after that, we have Paisano. I can't remember her first name. Something Paisano. Something... I can't remember. Anyway, behind that is Joseph George and Mark Sanderson.
Yes.
And I can't remember who the guy behind Tulsi is, but there's Evan Duke the Third.
Mm-hmm.
And Ed Higgins the Third. So we've learned so much more about this veterans group, right?
Yeah.
This veterans Veterans Stand for Standing Rock turned Veterans Respond turned all of those other veterans. Again, I did a whole series of shows about those folks.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to read what it says there on the post along with this picture, if you could.
See if we make that larger so we can actually read it.
It says it's via Tulsi Gabbard.
Yep.
So this comes from Tulsi Gabbard.
Last Sunday night at Standing Rock with fellow veterans at their camp, They established a command team in Operations TOC. They are assisting with safety and security operations in the camp. I am honored to have met these incredible veterans who inspire as they continue their mission of service. They are in this for the long haul, planning to stay until the drilling pad and construction equipment are removed. No dapple miniwakoni. Water is life. Veterans with Ed Higgins.
Okay. We now know, of course, Ed Higgins is not a vet, that he got kicked out for testing positive on cocaine.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about Evan, but this was definitely some kind of validation.
Yeah.
And I did an interview with Joseph George.
Yeah.
I don't want to play that tonight, but I do want to play it at some point. It's pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me that, because I asked him, why were you guys the security detail for Tulsi Gabbard? What kind of security threat what was posed for her at the camp? I thought there was no danger to anyone at the camp. And then he was like, well, she didn't really have any security needs.
Yeah, there's just fans.
Yeah, they were just
around.
fanboying.
Yep, I remember that.
He told me they were just fanboying, basically. So all of that, we were the security detail. Nah, not really. They were just fanboying, and they got to go along for the photo op. But again, it's all about the illusion, right?
Mm-hmm.
The illusion. Here is a post with oh no, not that yet. I won't get to Evan, Duke, and Tara yet. Let me tell you more about this article. Do you have the Jacobin article?
Yeah, it's up there.
Okay. Let's focus on that for just a minute. Because, oh, well, you know what? I think I will go to Evan, Duke, Tara.
It's like
Go ahead and go to the next one.
earlier ones, yes.
Sorry, the earlier ones. This is Evan Duke, one of the pictures one of the guys in the picture with Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah.
He was living or just moved in as roommates with Chelsea in our recent update of that
That's
situation.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Chelsea Lyons Kent. And he's from, are they from Portland, Oregon? Or?
I'm not sure where they're from. I know they were living out there.
They were living out there, right?
Yeah.
And in this post, can you read it, honey?
Sure can. Evan K. Duke, the third. I got a pretty sweet picture of you in D.C. on Inauguration Day, Tara. I'm still sorting through the pics from last year. Anyways, this is for you.
So he shows Tara Houska,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
We were just talking about her and the Justice Delegation.
Mm-hmm.
Here's one of the people that she was hanging out with. And on this picture, you see Francis Fisher,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Which we were just talking about, connected to Winnie Wong and all the glitterati, saying to Tara, "Love you, Tara, XOXOXOXO," on Evan Duke III's post. So Francis Fisher knows Evan K. Duke, knows Chelsea Lyons, knows Ed Higgins, knows all those people, loves all those people.
Yeah.
I've showed you her connection to those people in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Or should I say those rapists?
Yes.
Because they're rapists.
And thieves.
Chelsea's a rapist. Ed's a rapist.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. Okay. Next, I want to show you the Jacobin article.
All right.
Now, can you go to the document?
Sure.
And read a little bit the facts, each one of those numbered facts
All right.
about Tulsi Gabbard that I pulled from that Jacobin article. I'm not going to read the whole article,
Okay.
but I do want to share some
some
of the
people.
things that people should know about Tulsi that they probably didn't know, as this article titled Tulsi Gabbard is not your friend,
Yeah.
wants you to know. Here are some facts.
Yep. Her father is Mike Gabbard, a former Honolulu city councilman, state senator, and high-profile anti-gay activist who led a campaign against same-sex marriage in Hawaii in the 1990s. He founded the educational nonprofit Stop Promoting Homosexuality and brought himself to a show on a local radio station to denounce LGBT people. She opposed abortion and supported a constitutional amendment defining marriages between a man and a woman. After Honolulu magazine emailed her father to ask about his former ties to conservative Hare Krishna splinter group of 2004 profile, it was Gabbard who replied angrily, accusing the magazine of acting as a conduit for the Honolulu Weekly and other homosexual extremist supporters of Ed Case, her father's opponent. Another point, the same year she used her platform as a state representative to testify against civil unions, calling the claim that they were different from same-sex marriage dishonest, cowardly, and extremely disrespectful to the people of Hawaii, who had voted in favor of a constitutional amendment in 1998.
So that's a quote of hers.
Yes.
Did you read the quote so that people knew that was a quote from Tulsi?
Okay, this quote's right here. Okay, her quote was dishonest, cowardly, and extremely disrespectful to the people of Hawaii, end quote, who had voted in favor of a constitutional amendment in 1998. Said,
So
yes.
so that you have to give them the context, honey, because otherwise it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And of course, this is partially about her father, not her. That, to be fair, Mike Gabbard is not Tulsi Gabbard, and just because he's an anti-gay activist doesn't mean that she is, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want to just make that clear. But she herself also, when people were asking him about some of his weird conservative Hare Krishna cult type thing that he used to do, which again is also him, but you know, that's what she was raised in.
Yeah.
She was raised with a dad that had like a Hare Krishna cult kind of thing that he was part of, which of course meant she was part of it too.
Yeah.
She was raised in a culty family, in a homophobic culty family.
Yeah.
She said to one of these magazines asking questions, hey, you're acting as a conduit for the Honolulu Weekly and other homosexual extremist supporters of a guy that was her dad's opponent by the name of Ed Case.
I see.
She said that. So, you know, whether she was parroting something her father wanted her to say, who knows? She was defending her dad. But she said that.
Okay.
She said homosexual extremist supporters. Have you ever heard of homosexual extremists?
No.
What is that?
I don't know.
Can someone explain what homosexual extremism is? That sounds... that's made up, isn't it?
I think so.
Okay. Now, just to be clear, she also said during that same year, when she was a state representative and she was testifying against civil unions, marriages, okay? Well, they're not technically marriages, they're unions, but the people that wanted same-sex marriage, right?
Yeah.
And she said that unions, civil unions, were, quote, dishonest, cowardly, and extremely disrespectful to the people of Hawaii. Those are her words.
Yep.
That's what she said. I know she said it a long time ago when she was younger, but she did say it, and I think that it bears remembering her roots, because we don't know if she truly changed or if she is now just concealing what is not going to be acceptable to a large portion of the population, right?
Yeah.
So you just got to take it underground. Kind of like the president. He doesn't have the N-word in his vocabulary, he says, but you know he's a racist. You know that you know that you know, right?
Right.
Okay. So, going back to the article, Tulsi Gabbard also said, as Democrats, we should be representing the views of the people, not a small number of homosexual extremists. There it is again.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I do want to point out that, of course, she has done a 180 since that time. She has changed radically. She does not hold a lot of these views anymore. In fact, she's voted for gay rights as a member of Congress. She's done a lot of things that would appear to make her seem as if she has become more progressive in her thinking.
She turned around, as they say. I've heard that's...
I don't know for sure what I don't know. Jacobin is making... And of course, this is the opinion of the writer of this article, right? You need to make up your own mind what you think about this.
Yeah.
But what it is saying is that there is cause for concern, and there's a lot of evidence for that concern. And I think that we have to start thinking like this. If we know that they're coming dressed in sheep's clothing, but underneath there's actually wolves, we need to check and verify before some sheep end up dead.
Yep.
Y'all feel me? Because this stuff is getting dangerous.
Well, I agree. I agree with, because I've always had a hard time, and I understand people can change their political views and they can learn, they can change. But my experience with people who were very, very evil and conservative, all of a sudden switching to be liberal and progressive, like Ed Schultz, and who he's passed away recently, but he lived in this community. I knew him as a redneck football player that did our local news and talk shows, and he went out, and he was vile. It was scary. I'd bring people in the radio station, and he would just yell at them, and very, very conservative, anti-people of color. Then one day, he went to a homeless shelter, and he was reborn into the progressive agenda. And he went on to work for, huge, national media corporations and on and on and on. But I never liked that guy because he was dishonest. He was dishonest. That he really changed.
I think they become what is expedient at the time.
Yeah, and what gets them further ahead. And so, for Gabbard to be like anti-gay, especially in Hawaii, which was the first state out of the 50 states who passed a same-sex marriage law in their state. For her to say the sorts of things that it's minority, extremist minorities, it's like, how did that change? She better have had some sort of coming out process that she can point to and really explain herself, because you can't trust that. And and for all these vets to be hanging out with her because she was like some sort of celeb, it's just, I don't trust it. And I think a person has to do a lot when they are out saying hateful things, and then they turn around and say, I'm not hateful anymore. I'm actually the opposite. It's like, well, how did that happen? And how are you maintaining that? How are you being a good ally? That stuff would need to be explained to me before I could ever even think about trusting a person, and I still might not.
Yeah, I don't trust it.
No.
Because I need to see, we shouldn't find any evidence of that kind of thinking in her behavior still today, but there is. So I gotta say, here's what I learned from the article. Actually, we were up to number 6, weren't we? Oh no,
5.
We were actually at 5.
Yep.
So number 6 is that Steve Bannon is a big fanboy. Steve Bannon has published a lot of articles based on things that she has said in television, and she has gone on Fox News a lot because Fox News also loves Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Huh.
And Breitbart loves Tulsi Gabbard. And Steve Bannon specifically loves Tulsi Gabbard.
Okay.
And Gabbard, her almost tunnel vision like focus has been to focus on the vets being able to come home. But the way in which she does it is nationalistic. It's nationalism that's like dressed up in no war, in peace, in anti-war. Kind of like what we saw happening with Cassandra No War Fairbanks. Cassandra No War Fairbanks.
That's right.
Yeah. It's a fake way of making something that's already popular, like nationalism is in America, and jumping on that bandwagon. You know, veterans, right? But there's something more sinister behind it. Oops, I think I lost my place. Oh, where is, Cassandra. I was going to say, where is Cassandra?
Yeah.
She's so far into the future, dude. We're not even close to her. I thought, is she coming up next? Yeah, no, actually, she's going to be on the show because I wanted to show you a little bit of how I see the transformation of these people kind of really going. And she's one of those that kind of has shown a lot of that transformation. I kind of would argue that they really are who they are, you know, that they have arguably not changed, and especially not enough. Another thing that you should know about her, she has anti-interventionism, but it's very selective. It's very selective. And her brand of anti-interventionalism has been praised by none other than the KKK Grand Wizard David Duke, who called her to be named Secretary of State.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. He loves some Tulsi Gabbard. When you have the Grand Wizard, former Grand Wizard of the KKK and guy who endorsed Donald Trump and Steve Bannon, adoring, fanboying, and, impulsing your career?
Yeah.
Supporting your career? Y'all better pay attention. Something that should not pass the smell test for anybody. Don't you find that troubling and disturbing?
Yes, I do. And the title of the article is Tulsi Gabbard is not your friend. You know, and once again, it's like, you can't forget about these things. And David Duke and tried to get her a job in the cabinet. I mean, I would not want to go near that person. If I saw that person at Standing Rock and Tulsi Gabbard and I knew anything about her, I can stay way away from her. What's she doing here? You know, she hanging out with the Bundy people that came out there. They were out there. I wasn't going to go hang out with them. I'd stay far, far, far away.
Guess who else she hobnobs with?
Who?
Trump supporter and donor Sheldon Adelson. You've heard of him. He's super, super rich. You've heard of him because it's been very controversial who he's given money to and for what campaigns. But he is one of the big Trump supporters. Adelson is also someone who believes Palestinians are quote-unquote made up people.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Wow.
So, yeah, he's bigoted. And Tulsi Gabbard equates Islam, the religion, she frequently does this. She's done it a lot. This is one of the things that Breitbart has praised her for. She's gone after Obama for not saying what she thinks he should say about Islam. And that is that she equates the religion to radicalism and terrorism.
Okay.
They go hand in hand for her, and she wants it to be called radical Islam. Or yeah, I can't remember the exact words that she wants it to be called, but I don't even want to repeat them because it's ridiculous. But that is what she equates the religion, the whole religion, and everyone that practices or believes in it. She equates that to radicalism and terrorism.
Wow.
So that's another reason. Reason number 8, she supports the discrimination of certain refugees. And again, you have to really look at that issue, read the article. You'll find out more about the specifics on each one of these points. Number 9, she has other strange friends, which include Narendra Modi, who is the by the way, he hates Muslims. He is the dictator in India, or the president of India. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to call him the dictator. The other person she's friends with, Tulsi Gabbard, is also friends with Egyptian dictator Abdel El-Sisi.
Oh. So
El-Sisi, I don't know how to pronounce that. I apologize if I said that wrong. Tulsi has again changed a lot of her then beliefs and said that you know, she is now not anti-gay. She said that when she went into the service, that's when she, quote, began to realize that the positions that she had held previously regarding the issues of choice and gay marriage were rooted in the same premise held by those in power in the oppressive Middle Eastern regimes that she was fighting in. And that's what helped her change. But suspicion about whether or not she's really changed linger. Her state Democratic Party LGBT caucus, for instance, openly distrusts her.
Wow.
That's not good. That's not a good
that's
sign.
Horrible.
They have backed her They backed the LGBT caucus of the Democratic Party. Did not back Tulsi Gabbard.
Okay.
They backed her opponent in 2016.
Wow.
That's how much they do not like her or trust her. What does that tell you? See, they have the gaydar. They have the ability to know she is not a friend to queer people. Okay. I don't know if that's what gaydar really is. I don't think it is. But you got that wrong. Okay, so also, here's further proof. And this is in the present, not in the past, when she was 23, when she was espousing these beliefs. But when she was questioned why the LGBT caucus, which had actually supported her 3 years earlier, had turned against her, the chairman cited 2 things. One was her less than stellar answers to a questionnaire that they sent her, the caucus sent her. And she did badly. She did not pass the test on the answers that she gave. Okay. So that was one of the reasons they said, nope, we don't believe her. Because they did believe her, but then they tested, and they're like, they scratched beneath the surface, and they're like, no, she's still homophobic.
Yeah.
Not good. And the other reason was that there was a 2015 interview. They cited a 2015 interview with Ozzy, which can be found on iHeartRadio. I'm not going to play the clip here because a lot of it is words and not audio, so I would have to read them anyhow.
Okay.
So you might as well go and watch it there. But in it, she confirms that her personal views on gay marriage and abortion actually hadn't changed.
Okay, see, told you.
But that her views on whether or not government should be enforcing those moralities had.
Oh. Yeah.
But the government does,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And so, anyway, another thing you all should know, and this is the last reason I'm going to give you from the article. There are actually more, but you need to go read the article for yourself. It's a good read. It's important, and we need to know. We need to actually do more checking, more vetting, and making sure. Yes, I know this administration and what you have seen, if you are a progressive, even if you're a Republican, might make you want to go and go find the first socialist, the first Democrats.
Yeah.
The first brown Democrat, the first whatever woman Democrat that you can, so that you can go vote for them and you can donate to their campaign and you know, cleanse your palate. But verify before you vote. Verify before you vote. Hashtag verify before you vote. Vote.
Yep.
Please, because I don't trust these people. I don't trust a lot of these people. A lot of them are fake liars, con artists, frauds, and they set themselves up to have, you know, this is going to be their career now for a while, making money. And of course, what could be behind all of this? I don't know. Is a pipeline involved? Oh, maybe oil? We're talking about the energy sector. Maybe
Yes.
energy
Yeah.
economies?
Mm-hmm.
Wonder what could possibly be driving all of this. And why would Hollywood benefit? Why would some documentarian like Josh Fox and all of those people benefit?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all got to watch our shows more often. We've gone through a lot of this stuff on my shows that I did on Fake Progressive Agendas, parts 1 through 6. Nemo will drop all of those links in the comments of this show so you can go back, catch up, and learn about all that stuff.
Yeah.
And have a better understanding of not only that you were duped, but why you were duped. And from where? Where did this come from? Okay? Here's the last thing that I'll tell you about Tulsi, which should give you chills. Tulsi managed to secure a special invite to the American Enterprise Institute party. Do you know what that is?
No, I don't.
Well, it's very super exclusivo. Only for the glitterati of the glitterati, the
I
creme
see.
de la creme brulee. And they have an annual closed to the press party retreat where she hobnobbed with people like Dick Cheney,
Oh, boy.
Bill Kristol, Mike Pence, Rupert Murdoch,
Wow.
and the DeVosses.
Oh.
Wonder if Eric Prince, the Tiger Swan guy was there.
Yeah.
Because you know, Eric Prince, the Tiger Swan guy, he's Betsy DeVos's brother.
Oh, yeah.
Did you hear they're trying to privatize the Afghanistan war?
No.
Yep, that was in the news today.
Wow.
They're going to privatize their mama.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to privatize su chingada madre. Que la privaticen. That they want to privatize everything. Privatize the prison. Privatize the schools. Remember that senator in Mexico?
Mm-hmm.
When they were doing that? That's why here at a Mexican crossing lines. I'm telling you, the future. I already seen what happened in Mexico.
Yeah.
Now you got senators running around because they're taking away security clearances from all of these people, like we're a banana republic.
Mm-hmm.
And what a Mexican was trying to tell you about this years ago.
Yep.
I've been trying to tell you what's coming for you. You need to listen if you don't want to end up like over there across the border.
Yep,
right?
Exactly.
Also present at this exclusive party, okay, were sponsors like Lockheed Martin, Canada's Department of National Defense, and others. By the way, that's who sponsors the pate.
Wow, interesting.
And Tulsi, at the urging of the American Enterprise Institute, had spoken at the Halifax International Security Forum, which is sponsored by those
same groups. Okay.
those groups that I just mentioned.
Wow.
So she has been involved in energy policy.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Huh.
Nora Maccabee, Oliver Stone, Sean Stone, Wes Clark, Phyllis Young, Standing Rock.
Wow.
What did Wes say? Let's go back to what Wes said. Let's listen. What did he tell us about who took him to Standing Rock?
Oh, that's right.
Let me hear this. Please.
I was contacted by Sean Stone, Oliver Stone's son,
Okay.
who said he wanted to write a movie with me.
Okay.
1 month later, I get a call from a man named James Martinez. James Martinez says he got my number from a friend of mine named Nora Maccabee.
Okay.
When I called Nora and asked her yesterday where she knew James from, she said he was a friend of Sean Stone's. So the first question is, why would a friend of Sean Stone's go to a friend of mine to get my number when they could have gotten my number from Sean Stone?
Right.
So he became the person who got me involved with Standing Rock. He called me up and he said, I was friends with Russell Means and, I'm here to... He told me I needed to save the Lakota Nation. And he became my go-between with Phyllis Young. Phyllis Young I'd never talked to her without him calling Phyllis and connecting us.
Wow.
At first they wanted my dad out there. And my dad was like, fuck no. So, I told you all this story when we, did the interview back in January, how that month went.
Mm-hmm.
I think almost everybody surrounding me out there and in the leadership of Veterans Stand, this may sound crazy, is part of this Russian operation.
Oh, yeah. I don't think that's crazy anymore.
Not only that, I think these people are the people who are going to pull off the proverbial Reichstag fire to put us under martial law through orchestrating a race riot in Flint, Michigan, in combination with a pipeline attack in the Dakotas.
I've been hearing about that in Flint for a while. Ever since I covered the story.
Remember I said I got death threats when I came back from Standing Rock?
Yes.
They were specific to Flint.
Wow. Wow.
And all those people I was out there with, like the people directly around me, I'm sure you're going to recognize these names. Evan Duke.
Yep.
Travis Biolette.
Yep.
Chris Dussing. Possibly Sadef Buyakmatan.
Yep.
Jesse Ilnicki.
Yes.
Mark Sanderson. And someone I didn't meet personally out there, but somebody who was involved with this group named Neko House.
Wow.
Now, all of these fucking people have reached out to me since the Intercept article. And it's mainly to find out what I've known. I tell all of them, I think Ed's a fucking infiltrator, but I don't have proof. And I tell them, I think everybody's being used as part of an op. But, I mean, Cindy, just with what I can learn on Facebook, like I've learned the greatest way to find anything out is do the Google search, but do it from 2015 back.
Yeah.
But here's the other freaky thing. Every person out there in that leadership team had some backstory that connected them to me.
Sure.
So, Chris Dussing was supposedly a rifleman company commander in K4 under my dad's command during the war in Yugoslavia.
Wow.
Do you recognize the name Jen Spaulding?
That sounds familiar.
Jen Spaulding was the officer in charge for the Eagle Butte staging area.
Oh, yeah.
Jen Spaulding, when I met her, was, by the way, one of the first people I met when I walked into the fucking casino. She was sitting right outside that little fucking restaurant in a wheelchair with a fucking heart device on, telling me that she'd just gotten out of chemo, she had 6 months to live, and that she was in this state of affairs because of a brutal attack she'd suffered in the military where people kicked her in the head. I also suffered an attack in the military where I was kicked in the head. Okay, anyway, so she was the head of the people down in Eagle Butte. And she had this story about being attacked by neo-Nazis when she was there. But what I've noticed is she drives all over the country. She's still alive and heading to Michigan. Now, when you look at her Facebook page, it says, all the places she's lived, like, Texas, Oklahoma, Carolinas, Georgia. Nothing about Michigan. But if you do a search of just her name, like in quotes, and, before, 2015 and earlier, the only shit that shows up about her online is A, that she's disabled, and claims to be a veteran, and B, some restaurant reviews for, like, Yelp on, like, fucking McDonald's and Arby's in Lansing, Michigan. Are you starting to see all the weird shit?
Yeah. Oh my God.
So this guy, Neko House, reaches out to me, I don't know, a week and a half ago. And he, do you want to talk about Tiger Swan? And I basically have told most of these people, dude, I'm backing the fuck off. I don't want anything to do with any of this. This is over my head.
Yeah.
But he wanted to talk to me. So I researched Neko House. Neko House on Facebook was the head of the student Bernie group in either North or South Carolina, one of those fucking, either North Carolina State or South Carolina State. Doesn't say he's a veteran on his Facebook. But if you search deeper online, he is a veteran.
Okay.
So why would you not admit you were a veteran on Facebook. And then his place of employment is a high-priced real estate company based in Miami that only sells real estate, super luxury real estate, in Manhattan and Miami.
Huh.
And this guy uses GoFundMes to go to the People's Climate Summit. And when I talked to him on the phone, he said, dude, because, con men, they can't help but fucking brag.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, I was the first guy to turn everyone against Hillary when WikiLeaks came out. So then I was like, ding, 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 ding. And I went back and I looked at every one of these people in this fucking group. To include, by the way, Victory Longquist.
Really?
Who was another one of them.
Mm-hmm.
That
Neko house has been mentioned to me several times in connection with Ed Higgins by some of the other whistleblowers I've been talking to. And I had never heard that name before, and now I'm hearing it all the time.
Yeah, because they all met up at the People's Summit together, and then they all went to Flint.
Yeah. And then...
And here's the thing. Did I tell you about Chris Dussing, that he has a Russian wife that he married so she could get a green card?
Nope.
Yeah, he's the commander of the vets on the Cheyenne River Res. And he told me last week that he was talking about, like, armed patrols around the pipeline. And I'm like, dude, what are you even doing looking at what's going on around the fucking pipeline, because it's full of fucking oil? You can't do anything. It's there. It's full of oil.
Yeah.
So why is he noting where the patrols are on the pipeline? You see what I'm saying? Like, there is a two-pronged terror attack that's like quite literally a false flag attack that's going to happen whenever Trump reaches that point when they're about to fucking put the cuffs on him, which may be in the next week, because they're all in Michigan now.
I know.
And they travel through Lawrence, Kansas a lot.
Yeah,
there's some kind of staging area for them as they move between Cheyenne River and Flint. But these people are all fucking connected. And by the way, Mike Wood has like $450,000 fucking dollars in multiple bank accounts that he never paid out to vets or water protectors or donated to the tribe or put into a legal trust or anything. He just kept the fucking money.
So, after that show where we played this clip the first time, I've gone back to this clip, and I think it's useful for you to hear the whole thing again and again and again, because there was a lot of names in there that we didn't know before. Mm-hmm. We hadn't explored them. And when I went back to try to figure, this all started when I was trying to find out about Ryan Laurie. Remember?
Yeah.
Way back then?
Yeah.
And I even called Wes again. I'm like, can you remember? And he didn't. So I was like, okay, it's on the tape. So I went back to this. I was trying to figure out what he had told me about the Reichstag fire and the guy that's leading, the Nazi leading the Promise Camp and all this stuff. And I was like, okay, so there's a Nazi leading the Promise Camp out in Flint, Michigan. And I looked into it, and I showed you on my show. Mm-hmm. He's got the tattoos. He's got the history. He got upset that I showed stuff from so long ago. He didn't say, though, that's not who I am now. I've shed those. I've changed. Here's an article where I repudiated my past skinheadness. Yeah. Or nothing like that. There's no evidence of it. And again, I have to say, where did these people come from?
Yeah.
And why are they, not telling you about their past? Why are they hiding some of the things that continues to connect them to their past? Because it seems like they're just trying to keep it on the down low. Mm-hmm. And that's not Okay, that is deceitful. That is deceitful. And if you're trying to deceive people, if you're lying to people, if you're hiding the things that we would not support in a person, much less in a politician or a leader, then you're defrauding the American public. And that is not right. People should be prosecuted for doing that. It's not okay for people to, under false pretenses, make people believe this, but as I've told you, astroturfing is a thing. It's happening. After the show in which I first played this clip, there were some comments that were really weird. Neko House, the host of Mi Casa is Su Casa, that's his show that he has.
Yeah.
Posted this strange comment on the show. It says, Missy Waddell. I didn't mention Missy Waddell during the show which I played this clip, by the way. And as you heard, that was Wes talking about who invited him to Standing Rock. I wasn't saying that.
You weren't saying any of that. It was all from Wes.
I didn't say Neko House's name. Okay, so this is what that's why it's bizarre, because I was like, what is he saying? What is he saying? He says of Missy Waddell. So for those who don't know who she is the woman that told me that she had been raped by Ed Higgins, who shared her story here on 88.1 FM. It's been a year.
Yeah, it's been a year.
A year longer. Yeah. So he's talking to her, and she had told me, which is why I kind of understood what this meant, that she had gone to him and to many other people, including H.A. Goodman and others, and told them about what happened to her, and that nobody among the progressive groups, which she said were, as far as she knew, friends with Ed, which is why they were covering for him, and no one would expose what he was doing. Said this to Missy in his post. This is what Neko said. Missy Waddell, I'm honestly disappointed in you, Missy. I listened to your story and even connected you to my friend to give you more information. We even had a personal conversation about how dangerous the, quote, white savior complex was when discussing both Jordan and Ed, respectively. For you to facilitate the slandering of my name is sad. I have never done a single thing to you. Granted, I have no idea who this woman is, and I'm pretty positive no one else does either. I think he's talking about me.
Yeah.
The point is, I was the one who gave you information when you reached out to me and told me your story, and I was the one who told you that I believe you 100%. Thanks for showing the appreciation. This is why progressive journalists don't answer their inbox and victims go unseen. This is why progressive movements die. Wow. Boy, that took a dark turn. I hope the 1,000 views was worth your credibility. Because you just tried to link other people who literally despise each other into some House of Cards nefarious plot based off half-ass Google searches that makes no sense. And then, could you scroll down? I think there's more at the top there. Oh, and then I guess I didn't have the rest of that comment for some reason. Jeff Day comments and says, "What is she trying to say about you? I heard your name, but nothing else." Jeff Day, who I'm going to show you who he is in a second, is talking here to Neko House. And he says, Jeff Day, Neko House says, Jeff Day, that Ed, Billy, and Jordan and some others are all working together as a group of some secret sexual assault, water poisoning race rioters, I think. Lamau. Again, to be clear, I didn't say those things.
Mm-hmm.
I played the same clip I played before. That was Wes telling me, reporting to me what he knew. And Jeff Day says, crazy.
Yeah.
And Missy Waddell says, is it crazy, Jeff Day? Question mark. And Jeff Day says, since I drove with Neko there, I'd say yes. So Jeff Day drove with Neko how? House to Standing Rock.
Yep.
That's what they're talking about. I'll show you that in a minute. And Neko says to Jeff, you hear this? Fast forward like 40 minutes. Oh, I think this one was before. This one came before the other ones. He's like tagging him like, hey, did you hear this? And he tags him. And then he tells him exactly at what point in the show we talked about them. And then Neko also tags Samira Khan. You just saw her in the Glitterati video, remember? And then that's it, I think, right?
Yep.
Okay, so I just wanted to show you that and show you how what they were commenting about. And here's Neko going to the No Dapple camp at Standing Rock, and there's a picture of the vets marching in that he posted on his Facebook page.
Yep.
Here's another of him and Jeff Day in the back seat of a car, and it says, still driving, hashtag No Dapple with Jeff Day. And look, Missy was one of the commenters also.
Oh, yes.
So next we have a picture he posted of the camp sign. It says, this way to the camp, posted November 28, 2016. So it's cold. It's getting cold, right?
Yep.
Out at the camp. This is a picture of I think it was Neko House pulling Jordan Sheridan, or maybe he took the picture, but he posted it. And Jordan Sheridan is sitting on a sled with a big, stupid smile on his face.
Yeah, that's when he's sliding down a slippery slope.
I see what you did there. It's very nice. I like it. Can you read that comment by Neko, please?
Yeah, all of the water protectors had a much-needed break from protesting. Bobsledding was enjoyed by many, but still much work to do, though. But they deserve to have a little fun.
So obviously, at this point, they weren't fallen out yet, Neko and Jordan.
Yeah.
As
that's right, he talks about
as
that.
he's talking about in his comment, he's like, I told you what a bunch of jerks these two, Jordan and Ed Higgins, were. Not here, though. Here you're bobsledding with him.
Exactly.
And having a good time and doing work with him. Got lots of work to do. That's your post, Neko House, on your page on November 28th with you and Jordan Sheridan going for a ride.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you took a lot of people for a ride. Jordan Sheridan took a lot of people for a ride and raped a woman.
Yeah.
Raped a woman with Chelsea Lyons, Kent. And here's a post that Neko made. Could you read that for me?
Let's get this
please
a little bit bigger.
Pretty please.
Neko House, one of the administrators from Truth Against the Machine, asserted I was fired because I wouldn't leave my apartment. Jordan upset that I was posting to my page and not to TATM because I was not directed. Only after he fired me without telling me. In a sense, she was correct. My car was my apartment, And I never left it because when I couldn't afford an Airbnb for the night, that is where I slept, hence the luggage. In a sense, Jordan was also correct. I was posting my page. Do you know why? Because Ed Opperman has a radio station he is running and gave me my first opportunity to ever be heard by an audience outside of my own. His name is on the line every time I couldn't do my show. He never chastised me. He never insulted my integrity or claimed I wasn't dedicated. He was honestly so understanding I couldn't believe it. But also, I have fans who donate every month so that my show can go on. With those donations, I am able to afford unlimited data for my devices, so even when I can't afford food or a roof, I can still give them what they paid for. And to my understanding, they appreciate that. You wanted to knock me down, right? You wanted to make yourself the victim. I was never going to call you out on the shiz you pulled, because the only thing it would do at best was cause an unnecessary rift in the movement. So you win. I was at my lowest financially. I was lucky if I ever got to pull out $100 for the week by tricking my bank by depositing just enough to get out of the negatives.
He makes it sound like he's homeless.
Well, he's homeless and he doesn't have much money. So
but we've seen he's in an apartment or something with a cat. He has a cat
Yeah.
when he does his shows. So I think he's actually referring to the fact that he's on the road all the time. So he's literally living out of a car.
Yeah.
And probably hotel rooms, I'm sure. Especially because he was hanging around with those people.
Yeah.
He dresses pretty nice, so I don't think that he's that badly off as it makes it seem in that post. And
Yeah.
of course, you heard Wes say he's actually a wealthy real estate agent.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of contradictory things, but of course, only he knows who he really is. Right?
Yeah. Exactly.
I don't know. And I don't know how much Wes knows about this guy. What, this is what he told me his research is, but he seems to know all of these, be connected to all of these
he knows something about
people.
everybody.
Yeah. So, here's a picture of that he posted where Z is commenting. And this is, again, Truth Against the Machine, the Jordan Sheridan media platform he created after he went to Standing Rock while still working for the Young Turks. And Z says, it's ironic because you were fired from Truth Against the Machine because you wouldn't leave your apartment to actually investigate anything.
Oh.
This is the comment that he was responding to in that post you just read. Like, it's funny that you would say that because blah, 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 blah. All of that was in response to this one comment by Z Cohen, who was the producer at TYT, and also then later at Truth Against the Machine with Jordan Sheridan, who we talked to about the Kathleen Bennett case.
Yep. And said they're too busy. Didn't have enough resources.
Didn't have enough resources. But they had
Neko wouldn't leave his house. They can't do it.
No. He wouldn't investigate anything. Your arrogance astounds me, she says very dramatically. Next, I have a post of Neko with Tim Black.
Oh, yeah.
He's one of those fake progressives, fake progressive agendas. If you watch fake progressives, and I think that's what it was called, fake progressives. But you could also search for Steve Grumbine on our search bar at KPPP.
Yeah.
And you could find it. And if you're just tuning in, you're listening to a Mexican Crossing Lines on 88.1 FM KPPP LP Fargo Moorhead, where we are adding local color to your airwaves. So here is another picture of him talking to none other than Billy Taylor.
Oh, interesting.
Didn't some people suggest that you become Billy Taylor's friend?
Yeah, just recently. And a friend's suggestion, Billy Taylor. I said, no, I don't think so.
You're like, you already know too much about that.
Yeah,
guy.
exactly.
None of it is very promising.
Or friendly.
So here they're talking back and forth. I just wanted to show you the associations between these people who they're commenting with or hanging out with, etc., etc.
Yep.
Neko House Remember that I showed you how Tim Black was on Alex Jones's show and they were talking and he's like, "Hey brother."
Hey, brother.
And
Yes.
I told you these people, they go from one thing to the other, or do they?
Yeah, exactly.
Or do they? Watch the astroturfing thing.
Mm-hmm.
You'll thank me. So, let's just go to the next one. I mean, they're talking about Jill Stein, whatever. I just want to show you all of the people. There's Steve Grumbine. I told you. Go search Steve. There, he's associated with him, and this was from an event. That Steve Grumbine one was from an event that I'm going to show you more about later.
Okay.
Where all of these people were at, along with the progressive lady from Germany in the cabin box that was talking, interviewing the rapist Chelsea Lyons. You know, those are part of those, like, all those online media platforms, so-called progressive media platforms that looked sketchy AF. When I was like, why is all these white people talking about people of color issues that predominantly affect people of color, and they don't got a lot of people of color advocating. They got a lot of white people doing, even journalists, people from other countries, Caitlin Johnstone. They got all these crazy, ex-CIA people, and like, what's going on? Comedians and ex-wrestlers and what the hell? B and D and F list actors, unemployed actors. So here's another person that he's connected to. This is the Sane Progressive lady. Oh, she one of those other shows that just popped up out of nowhere.
Yep.
And this is Neko and Chelsea Lyons Kent, the rapist.
Yep, also a delegate for Tulsi Gabbard, right?
Remember, he talked in the clip, Wesley Clark Jr. talked extensively about Flint, about what they were doing in Flint, about who was at Flint. Remember, that was where the Wolves' Den was. I'm going to talk more about that soon.
Yep.
Take note. And then he's also connected to Bernie. He was the guy, I think he was one of the black men for Bernie.
Yeah, and also a student organization chair for Bernie. You know, so he's been totally connected to Bernie in several ways.
Yeah. I mean, just like Tara Houska.
Yep, exactly.
You know, there's a lot of these people like Winnie Wong. I mean, all of them. I'm starting to wonder, how do you not know? Bernie, how do you not know? You guys just don't check people's backgrounds at all? Because you should watch my show Desert Storm, and you should watch the one before that about Linda Sarsour.
There's one more.
And show me. Oh, well, look. There's Jeff Day.
Yes.
The guy from Standing Rock. So, doesn't it just Standing Rock? They ended up bumping into each other and other stuff.
Exactly.
They're pals. And Jeff Day was one of the people commenting in those comments that you saw on the show when I first played that clip of Wes's. And here's a post that Jeff Day made about his trip out to Standing Rock. Would you please read it?
Oh, definitely.
Thank you.
This is August 12th, 2016. Jeff Day. I want everyone here to turn your attention away from this election just for a moment and focus on something much bigger than ourselves. As we speak right now in North Dakota, a pipeline is illegally being built on a Native American burial ground. This is a direct violation of our treaties with these people. They're asking everyone who has the ability to go to North Dakota right now and stand in front of the bulldozers. And if you can't, at a minimum, it is your job to make every person you talk to aware of this travesty. This pipeline is scheduled to go through more than one reservation, and it will if we don't stand up against this. This pipeline runs right under the main water supplies for these reservations, meaning when it breaks, not when it breaks. It'll contaminate all of their water supply, will then contaminate the wild animals and their food supply. And once everything is poisoned, they'll be forced to abandon their homelands, the only thing they have, or die. The children and the future generation of this reservation depend on a future just like you do. Please do the right thing. This needs to be covered by mainstream media. Call your local news. Tell them to report about this, something that matters right now. And if they refuse, it's up to us to make our people aware. There's a link for a petition, respectourwater.com, as well as tons of literature to educate yourself about this matter. And you can also donate to the cause at sacredstonecamp.org. You can donate money, and there's also a list of supplies needed. Thank you so much for looking into this. What's most important is we continue to educate others about this.
Okay, now I want you to go all the way back to the top.
All right.
Because did you see how he spelled pipeline?
Yeah.
Also, did you notice how many misspellings there were?
Yeah, and a few errors
you,
in
you
the grammar.
didn't read those when you read you kind of corrected.
Yeah, I did.
All of the misspellings and incorrect grammar and incorrect use of, words. But I thought it's relevant to point out because it'll become important in a little bit.
Okay.
It'll become more important that I note that. I'm not just trying to be a jerk.
Yeah.
I was the editor of paper, but I can make mistakes. And when I type on social media, I'm not like writing for the newspaper. So
yeah, and I make mistakes when I read, but when he says, meaning when it breaks, not of it breaks.
Not of it breaks.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing. I'm not trying to just pick on him for the sake of picking on him.
Mm-hmm.
Many times when I am typing on social media, I'm using my phone, so
Yeah.
I'm typing with my fingers, not on a computer where you have, the correct position to type and you got this tiny buttons and stuff. So
Yeah.
I get it. It's not for that reason that I find it interesting that he has so many grammatical errors and misspellings. It's for another reason, but continue.
Yes.
So this is another person that he is associated with. It's none other than the guy that introduced Wes to Seven McDonald, or so
exactly.
he claimed.
Yeah.
Until I believed it until I saw the pictures of Nora Maccabee friends with McDonald too, going, wait, but you said you were good friends with Nora Maccabee, and so is Oliver Stone, and so is Sean Stone, and it seems like this whole story about Seven just coming into your life is also a lie.
Mm-hmm.
So most likely, Josh Fox may also be someone that he knows well. Who knows? But there's Josh Fox, one of the people responsible for the horrible documentary Awake, in which all of the criminals from Standing Rock appear, including Mulaney Stoneman, the woman that kidnapped a Lakota elder, left her to die in a hospital, and put an innocent Lakota woman in a jail cell for 6 months. And she would have been there for up to 15 years had we not exonerated her.
Exactly.
And gotten her money to get a representative, a lawyer, so that she could defend herself. And defend herself she did, and they dropped all the charges.
Exactly.
None of these phony people who said they cared so much about the Native Americans and the women and protecting the women and the children and cared about Kathleen Bennett or her mom.
Nope.
Nobody. There was a handful of people that cared. Many of them were people that listened to this program of Mexican Crossing Lines here on 88.1 FM, and her family.
Yeah.
But and the people that were at Standing Rock that met her, like Josh and Ren, the witnesses in this case, and other witnesses in this case, that said, no, this didn't happen. Did not happen. So, where am I? Jeff Day 2.
Jeff Day.
Oh, this is when he was at the People's Summit, I think.
Okay.
Or it could have been at a Bernie Sanders. It's too small for me to see, but it was one of those things because he goes to a lot of events and political ones at that. And I don't know if he was running for some. Oh, there's Cenk Uygur.
Oh, yeah. Right by the bathroom.
So we come full circle. Remember, that's where Wes is formerly working.
That's right.
Right? Other than his cameo appearances on Russian television news with his friend Sean Stone. And here he is, Jeff, with a woman that is, she has a water protector type t-shirt and then Stand with Standing Rock t-shirt. One of those Shailene Woodley deals.
Yep.
Shailene Woodley, also connected to all these people.
Yep.
It's not a coincidence anymore, people.
There's like an explanation of that photo. Just got home from a meeting, a wonderful woman with a heart made of pure gold. She is a water protector and helped contribute to the cause by donating many much needed goods for our family at Sacred Stone. Thank you, Benita March. For your donations and your personal gifts to me. Bless our trip. Please forgive my appearance. It's been a long few days and nights organizing and ordering everything. Oh, he's really pushing the fundraising on what you can do, And who's this?
Man. That's Jeff Day and Neko House.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's right there traveling together. They fundraise together to get out there.
Mm-hmm.
The People's Summit and Standing Rock.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Here's another post. Why, they know Jill Stein.
Jill Stein.
They got a picture.
Yeah. I'm proud. This is my personal
my presidential team.
Wow.
Jill Stein, huh?
Yeah.
So we got a Bernie bro, supposedly.
And said,
wonder if they've all turned Trump now.
I think so.
My guess is yes. They've all gone Trump.
I
think they always were Trump. Here's one of his posts where he's talking again about being a water protector. Yep. They're collecting donations, donations.
And picking up people on the way.
Mm-hmm. Gimme all of your generators.
Yeah, really.
And your money.
And here's a flag row.
What else do they got?
This image tells you everything you need to know about humanity's future and its connection to oil. If we can't let go, we'll kill ourselves.
Oil. So he's, he's talking about energy policy, and of course there's the flags that have the gas, and it's a gas pump, but it slowly, the gas hose that goes into the side of the gas pump slowly begins to turn into a hand holding a gun.
Oh, okay.
Right?
I remember that.
It's a piece of art.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of performance art and performance artists and actors, and now I know what they were connected to.
Yep. Here's another one that finally the roads are clear. It must be after the blizzards. And P.S. Frosty the Snowman stands with Standing Rock. We did not build a snowman. We just admired it. The artist was no longer on site, or I'd have given them credit.
Okay. We're trying to show you how these people who were formerly supposedly progressive and all stripes and colors, ones were greens and ones were blue with Bernie, and they all ended up in Standing Rock, mysteriously, miraculously, with all these celebrities and glitterati.
And he's trying to be a mouthpiece here because he's kind of like doing these posts for news, actually.
Oh, yeah.
This stuff didn't really happen in this way, but he's talking about, he's talking to his family in Delaware. And they won a great battle, but not the end. The CEO of Energy Transfer Partners plans on moving forward with drilling without easements or permits and says he'll pay the fines. We must not let up. We must not get distracted or complacent. This is our new world. We fight for our future. We no longer wait for it to be handed to us. So he's like talking like he's this big warrior, and
right.
And here's all the information.
So he had posts about all sorts of things, very in depth, even after he left Standing Rock. One of them was the waste disposal of the environmental hazard, the Rosal that was all out at the camp.
Oh, yeah.
I just wanted to show you one of the documents he had posted on his page about that. So reminded me of the stuff that Dee Dee Energy was calling me about. Like, there was a bunch of people that were focused on the same things at the same time, and I just found it very interesting that just some random dude that came from Delaware that was running for the school board out there comes out to Standing Rock and in the know, collecting generators and money from people.
And then he's taking up the Rosal cause.
It's really weird because they're getting stuff from indigenous people.
Yeah.
Money and donations, and it just bothers me a little bit,
Yeah.
Especially knowing what these people are about. Here he is in Philly.
Oh, yeah, of course. Of course.
Who else? That's his dad. That's his dad. And what does it say on his shirt, on his daddy's shirt? It says, Unity for Democracy, Power to the people. This is from the Unity March. USA, in unity we find strength. I think they were all at that event there. And his dad was with him.
Yep.
Next is a picture of Rosario Dawson.
Oh, okay.
What are the odds? Frances Fisher in Hollywood. Same actress. Over and over and over. Oh, he's photo banking for... Wait, I thought he liked Jill Stein and Baraka. What?
Yeah.
Now he's got Bernie Button. Okay.
Yep, there it is.
And then what do we got next? Oh,
We Burn Green.
now he's got We Burn Green.
Yeah.
No. Okay, so here he is with the Bernie poster.
Yeah.
Schizophrenic all over the place. And then he goes to the People's Summit. Everybody went to the People's Summit. What does that say? Those are his kids, by the way. But what does it say? And this is a public post he made.
Yeah.
So before people started sending me hate mail, he put this out publicly. And he did it on the way to his airport, So while he was running for office, so people could see this.
Yep.
So he's a public person.
On my way to the airport to attend the People's Summit, and wanted to say to everyone who's continuing to fight in Delaware that I promise when I get back, I'll be a better advocate in fighting for my family, my community, and my state. I've spoken with Eva Claes Barnett, and I'm willing to schedule a People's Summit workshop when I get back for anyone who wants to learn from my experience. Love to you, Sean. There's 3 beautiful kiddos and 1 giant dog. Luca, I'll be thinking of you every day.
Okay. I don't know who Luca is or who Sean is.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the name of the dog or one of the children or 2 of the children, or one of those is the name of his girlfriend, or I don't know, because I think he's divorced. Anyway, not that it matters, but he's going to talk about his personal family life and values in a minute here, because there was an article, and this is why it's critical to check out your candidates. There was this blog post about Jeffrey Day in which he, it's called what you don't know about the school board,
But school boards can hurt us.
Thank you.
Which we don't know about school boards can hurt us.
Mm-hmm. And, they talk about some the demographics that, like less than 2% of eligible voters are casting a ballot.
Mm-hmm.
And that Delaware's slate of school board members will be elected and granted the right to make decisions affecting students and the families all across the state, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, the importance of all of the details of that, I'll leave it to you guys. We'll have the link for you so you can go read the full thing for yourself. Is not what I wanted to focus on. Rather, one of the people running for school board that alarmed this writer of this blog. Antra Elena on May 4, 2017 on the blog fiercelyurgent.com. And it was a Facebook post accompanied by a Facebook post of Jeffrey Days on Facebook, shared by Media Takeout's video. A Media Takeout video is a video that he linked to along with his comment of a teacher getting into a fight with students at what looks like to be a predominantly black school.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you more about that school in a moment. But first, I'm going to read you what this woman or the blogger said about this first. It says, I recently learned of comments on social media from a candidate for Christina School District School Board, Jeffrey Day, that reminds me how little we really know of the philosophies and priorities of the people making or aspiring to make policy. In a post from last year where he shared a video of a teacher fighting with a student, Jeffrey stated, quote, sometimes kids need to have their ass beat. He went on to say, quote, how do you deal with all these kids? They outnumber the teachers and they rule over the schools. These comments are not just incredibly trauma insensitive. They also expose a mindset about certain types of kids and certain types of schools and how they should be handled. These comments paint the picture of schools, i.e., urban schools, read black people, as prisons where the students are out of control and can only be subdued with force. Where have we heard that, Duke? Put the brown children in the cages.
Yep, exactly.
And they're I'm continuing now after my commentary, sorry. And they're even more problematic for someone seeking to serve on the school board of a district with known discipline issues and that has been found in a federal investigation to be disciplining black students more harshly than white students. That's discrimination.
Yeah.
A federal finding of discrimination against this particular district in which this particular Jeff Day is running. Right?
Stephen.
Are those the value? No, this is Jeff Day.
Jeff Day, yes. Okay.
Jeff Day. We're not there yet, honey.
All right.
You're confusing the two people because they have the same last name.
There's so many days.
I don't think they're related. And I don't know if they're related to Maggie Day. They just have the last name. I think it's pretty common.
Okay.
He's from Delaware.
Yes, this is a Delaware one.
So, this guy who was just pictured next to Cenk Uygur.
Yep.
Do you think this is the progressive values of Neko House? Do you think these are the progressive values of the people that he's otherwise associated with, Josh Fox? Or these other people that he's in pictures with, like Cenk Uygur? Are those the values of TYT? Are those the values of the Bernie campaign people?
No, it doesn't
Are
sound
those
like
the
to me.
values of Jill Stein's Green Party people? Whose value? Are those of let the kids be beaten?
Yeah.
Who says that about a predominantly black student school where a teacher is beating on the students?
Yeah. It's white people and conservatives. And in fact, it's a kind of a well-known fact about when you're running for office, many of the conservatives, alt-right people start with school boards because school boards and county commissions are really low voter turnout and very, very lackluster elections. And usually they run multiple candidates and there's 3 or 4 seats available or 6 people run. So 4 of the 6 are going to get in or whatever. So it's kind of known that's where a lot of the people, a lot of the racists make their start in politics. You know, so you go to Standing Rock, you get some street cred, you go to the People Summit, you do this other stuff.
Stand next to some Indians.
Stand next to some Indians, and boom, you get elected in Delaware to this school board.
Stand next to Tulsi Gabbard.
That's right.
Right? Another person that they're passing off as
Yep.
being some, you know, darling of the progressive movement.
Mm-hmm.
Then you run for government, you know.
Yep, exactly.
But do we really know them?
No.
To be fair, I want to read the whole post. Can you put it up so people can see the school board comment that he made? Can you read it? 'Cause
Yeah. Sometimes kids need to have their ass beat. Period. If you raise children without consequences, without respect, I don't care what race, color, or creed, someone one day is going to put them in their place. Better a teacher than some other kid with a gun. Hopefully, he'd learn something. And then there's a clip of that video on that. And then we've got another post here. And it's the media takeout. Teacher gets into a fight with a very mature middle school student. Parents are now trying to get the teacher fired. But was he wrong? This occurred in James McHenry Middle School in Baltimore. Jeff Day says, I used to disagree also. But how do you deal with all these kids? They outnumber the teachers and they rule over the schools. How do you propose dealing with them honestly? Jennifer Baker says, the reason these kids act like this is most likely due to the fact they were hit as a kid. Teaching respect by hitting a child makes no sense. Physical punishment leads to aggression. You know this, Jeff. And then Jeff Day says, I have spanked my kids. They don't act like this. Most people who interact with my children say they're the most well-behaved. Kids need to understand accountability and respect. They are being taught neither.
ooh.
Wow, sounds like not a very viable candidate to me. Going there and beat up the kids.
I think we need to know more about these people because I think we've been getting duped.
I think so.
They've been trying to, do the bait and switch on us.
Mm-hmm.
How much did we know about this? I don't think we knew enough. Okay. Moving on. Let's go to the next one.
Well, now we're into Steve.
Now I want to show you one of the people that I saw that commented on his Standing Rock photos with the same last name.
Mm-hmm.
So I went and looked at his page to see how he was connected to Standing Rock. And I noticed that he posted a letter to all veterans standing for Standing Rock. This man, Stephen L. Day, who I'm about to show you, is a veteran. So he is responding to this call to come as a veteran, support Indigenous rights and come stand with us,
Mm-hmm.
So can you scroll down further on that? And it talks about the Native Americans and, the Vietnamese people. And anyway, it talks about oppressed people. It really kind of puts this weight on the U.S. military to kind of make up for some of the bad things they did.
Yeah.
Which was, I think this was something that was propagated as an idea. I don't know how sincerely it was intended. And then, of course, we saw the forgiveness ceremony that Wes did out at the pavilion during the blizzard, which enraged so many people.
Mm-hmm.
I think supposedly including his dad. But of course, in the show that I showed you, Let's Talk Turkey, it was called, in which I showed you that there was a little soiree, a barbecue, backyard barbecue at Wes Jr.'s house, at Wesley Clark Jr.'s house, with Sadef Buyakataman and Sadef Buyakataman's dad, the guys that owned the Razorback,
the submarine.
The submarine that's in Little Rock, Arkansas. You know what else is in Little Rock, Arkansas? The Clinton Library. Wes told me that. You know what else is in Little Rock, Arkansas?
The Waldens.
You know what else is in Little Rock, Arkansas? They just unveiled the statue of a satanic statue,
demon.
like the Buffet. I can't say.
Oh, you showed me that last night. That's right.
Behemoth, but I'm not even gonna try.
They got a devil out in front of the courthaus.
One more cool thing, I guess.
Got to go to.
What the hell is going on in Little Rock, Arkansas?
Yeah, exactly.
Literally, Satan has installed himself there.
Mm-hmm.
Last time I talked about it, I only told y'all about the Inland Maritime Museum, where they have that submarine owned by Sadef Buyakataman, who went on to become the lady in charge of the Veteran Stand for Standing Rock after Wes supposedly left and had nothing more to do with it, but he did. Still have stuff to do with it. And my guess is that she continued to be his proxy, just like Seven was his proxy, like Maggie was his proxy, and all these other people that were acting on what he told them that they were going to be doing out there, right?
Yep.
For the whole pipeline charade thing they did with all their actors. And Stephen, let's just go through these quickly.
All right.
Here's some pictures from his Facebook page. He had on some kind of hazmat suit. I don't know what for or why. It made me think about the Royzal poisoning.
Yeah,
I'm like,
probably was.
where in the hell did they get a guy
Hazmat.
like, how did he get this?
Him
and it is
Neko.
him. I'll show you. I want you to go through these rather quickly, though, okay?
That's him.
And that's him underneath the hood. And here's one where he talks about being at Ocheti Camp specifically. And he says he's 70, he's with a fellow water protector who's also age 70. So I'm assuming he's 70, so he's an older gentleman.
Yeah, he looks like it.
That is from Savannah, Georgia. And it says, we want to acquire a teepee and poles and return to North Dakota. Closely knowing some of the vets there, long time before Wes Clark Jr.'s big splash of influx of vets weeks after Thanksgiving Thanks Week.
Yeah.
Can't stay long time in cannonball weather because at 70 age, the cold is too penetrating to bones, especially metal joints, lumbar disc degenerate, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And he's talking about his traumas. Turns out he's was in the airborne. So he even has pictures of himself jumping out of planes from in the past. So this guy definitely looks like he was a real a veteran that served. And here's a picture of him from December 30th of 2016. This is while stuff is still going on at the camp.
Yeah.
And he's getting firewood.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So he was at the camp later on. He's getting firewood here. He was out there during Thanksgiving week. Is that what he said?
Mm-hmm. And then he's got a GoFundMe on this one, too. So he's raising money.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for pointing that out. Now it's winter. There's snow.
Yeah, no, it's hard.
These are all pictures he posted. And then the next one here is of him there's inside of a teepee or tarpee or something.
Yeah, there are wood stove camps and there's stuff. And
yep, looks like they got a pretty good setup. Lots of snow out in the camp.
Yeah.
That's the camp that they were at. There's the teepee poles, so it looks like they succeeded in getting the teepee poles that they wanted, right?
Yeah.
And then there's more. We saw pictures of him before. I showed you just a couple of pictures of Stephen L. Days.
Yeah.
I said I would explain more about him later. This is that later happening now.
Yep.
This is one of the structures that they built out there that he probably took pictures of and or maybe even helped to build.
Yeah.
That little dog with the pink shoes on, the little pink coat. I guess doggy coat is his dog because there's other pictures of that dog later on.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if that's his camper though. Maybe because it'd be a lot more comfortable to sleep in there than it would to sleep out in the. Yeah, it looks like a nice little camper.
There's a crazy dog.
And there's the dog. And that's the man that he was with.
Oh,
I can't remember what the name of that dude is. And there is the building from a different angle. Looks like it has solar panels on the roof.
Yep.
The roof. And there were certain people that had solar panels and stuff like that. And it was like, really? Wow, you guys are so... Oh, there's that beanie, Duke.
Oh,
there's that beanie.
It's got the Water's Life beanie. Select few. They're like the special forces.
I know, right? All the veterans stand for Standing Rock people had
Yep.
So there's another one, and here is the TP completed next to it. A flag.
Oh, okay.
And
aerial
a
view.
Christmas tree. How
do they get an aerial view?
I don't know, and I don't know if he shared them from someone else or if he
That's his camp,
took
though.
them himself with his drone. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just sharing pictures from. He did go to camp. These are his pictures. And here he is. Looks like he's getting ready to go. Right?
Yeah.
Or I don't know. Maybe this is afterwards. It looks like he's vacuuming out the back of his vehicle, or a camper. That looks like a camper. Is that a bed in there?
Yep. It looks like with the seats down, like an SUV or something like that.
And there's that beanie. Water is life. The beanies that the veterans stand for Standing Rock people.
I don't know what
God.
this is. This doesn't even
That's
look
his
like
cabin.
Oh.
That's over. That's his house. That's where he's from.
That's where he's from. Okay.
Or that's where he lives.
Oh, and
that's
in
pictures
DC.
he has. In DC, where Red Wolf Pope and
Everybody else was at.
Cates,
Mulaney.
Gwendolyn Cates, and West. Clark and Mulaney Stoneman, Vanessa Bowling, Christina Hollenbeck, and on and on and on and on and on.
They're all there.
All those people went there.
Now we're back at camp. Giant firewood truck.
There's a giant truck of firewood.
Yeah.
And then keep going. Now, this is a fundraiser at PayPal for the support of the kitchen, the Veterans Kitchen.
Oh.
And this is an article on, I can't read that very well. Can you make that bigger? Can you read the name of the publication?
Okay. Whoops.
Nope. It's below.
Yeah. It screwed up and making it bigger. It went too big.
Okay. There. What does that say?
The Daily Haze.
Oh.
Chef Ronnie
You know
brings her
who the
emergency-
Daily Haze is? It's none other
Miko
than Ed
Hayes.
Higgins' pal,
Yeah.
Neko Hayes. I wonder if he got out of jail. He probably got out of jail pretty quick after
Yeah, I'm sure.
his drunk incident with the police there.
Mm-hmm.
But that's who wrote the article for the Veterans Kitchen
Mm-hmm.
that Stephen. Day was trying to raise money for there. And here's a video he does in front of the U-Haul where they got a whole bunch of stuff. I think presumably it's going to Standing Rock. And in the next picture, you can see the U-Haul.
Oh, there it is.
That's in the video.
Yep.
And it's posted by Stephen L. Day on September 5th, 2017.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yep.
And here is who was filling.
Oh,
and
check
the
this
little
out.
piece of the face that was in the corner of that video you can see.
Yeah.
Who's this dude? Who's that, Duke?
Michael Marcus, the snitch.
The snitch that fingered Brennan.
Mm-hmm.
Nastasio.
Yep.
A.K.A. Bravo 1. The guy that disarmed Kyle Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
There he is.
Wow.
Yep. And he was hanging out with Stephen L. Day.
Okay.
And this is another post on Stephen L. Day's page. Look, there's Tulsi Gabbard.
Yep, we just heard about her.
So he supports her, I guess. Look at the angle of the picture, this picture of people getting hosed down with water cannons in November. On November 20th. The same day that Wes was having that barbecue at his house. With two people that appear in WikiLeaks associated with Barat's box. The son-in-law of Erdogan, the Turkish dictator.
Yep.
Yeah. That. That same day, this was taken by somebody and posted on Stephen L. Day's page.
Interesting.
Oh, he's also a fan of Chelsea Manning.
Yeah.
That's Cassandra Fairbanks' friend.
Mm-hmm.
Remember?
Yes, I do.
They went to a racist party together.
That's right.
And then they were all having a vigil for Assange.
Mm-hmm.
Assange.
Yeah.
The clock is ticking.
Yep.
Ding, 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 ding. When is he going to talk to Mueller? Dun, da, 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 dun. Okay, and the vets tents.
Yep.
The vets tents. More vets tents. Why, there's a picture of Tulsi Gabbard and some other dude.
Yeah.
This looks like a picture he took himself of Tulsi Gabbard. Wonder if he got to hang out with her. The vets did.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Oh, look. Isn't this Mr. Steve Grumbine's thing, MMT?
Yep.
That's all he talks about. MMT, MMT. It's like a cult. So he likes that stuff, I guess.
I guess.
Oh. Why don't you read that, Duke? What does that say? This is posted on Stephen L. Day's page.
Reports claim Russia meddled in DAPL. The Dakota Access Pipeline protests made waves on social media, but not all of it may have been organic or even domestic. A new report.
Not all of it. Almost none of it was.
Yeah, exactly.
Almost none of it was. And this radio station and yours truly has been trying to tell you so.
Yep.
For ages.
Mm-hmm. They say a new report from the U.S. House Committee on Science, Space, and Technology says Russia may have been involved. I don't know, Cassandra. I don't know.
I think that can conclusively be answered as yes. Because Maria Butina, we got one.
Yeah.
Next. And there's 20 some other indictments that will never be served, I guess, because those people are never going to come back here to answer to them. Continue reading from the article, please, dude.
Yes. The clash between protesters and law enforcement may have more to do with the Russian controversy than you might think. American energy dominance is a great threat to their economy, which is, of course, a direct threat to their national security. And it's not surprising that they would have a vested interest in trying to upset our energy markets Representative Kevin Kramer, our Republican North Dakota, said, a report from the Congressional Committee in D.C. says pipelines and infrastructure were a primary target of the Kremlin. Senator Heidi Heitkamp, Democrat in North Dakota, said, this new evidence of Russia wading into state and local issues to foment divisiveness and potential violence is a further example of why the federal government and states have to get serious about election interference this fall. She was joined by Senator John Hoeven, Republican. North Dakota, from KFYR. It's a North Dakota.
They all acknowledge Russian interference from Kevin Kramer to Heidi Heitkamp to John Hoeven. All of these the Trump administration says no. Mueller and his indictment say yes.
Yeah.
And almost everyone else is now saying yes. The intelligence community has been saying yes. And all, was it 4 Congress members there?
Oh, it's
quoted?
There's actually 3. There's only 3.
Okay.
Two senators.
Sorry, I didn't know who else was all in the article. I wasn't.
It was Kramer.
You were reading it, and I was just kind of.
Hoeven and Heitkamp.
All of them said.
Yep.
This is a thing.
Yep. It's a problem.
It's happening. It's happened. You just heard Wes Clark say it's all a Russian op. ¿Cómo lo sabías?
Yeah.
Inquiring minds want to know.
Oh, this
Here's
is on his
something
page
else
too.
he posted on Stephen L.
Interesting.
Day's page. He was keeping up with the Joneses. It's a picture of Brennan.
Yeah.
The guy that's still facing 15 years and whose trial has yet to be set. And this is where he is in the river disarming Kyle Thompson.
Yep.
The meth-addled pipeline security worker. That the WPLC and many others in the media, including Ed Higgins, Activate Now's Aubrey Peckham and Mike Fasig, all tried to elevate along with Courtney Doctor as heroes. While they attacked simultaneously, while they and many of their friends in the media and from Standing Rock's water protectors and their so-called keyboard warriors attacked our reporting, Kathleen Bennett's supporters, witnesses in this case, and also in the Brennan Nastasio case.
Yep.
Incredible.
Yeah, it is.
But true. This is his dog tags. It says he is Stephen Day. Larry Stephen Day. Okay? And the next one is a picture of the Green Party. Boom! But wait. Is Tulsi Gabbard? That's Jill Stein.
Yeah, what's going on?
What in the hell? Okay. So next I want you to show that Stephen L. Day did a post on a Change.org petition that was directed at Wesley Clark Jr. and Michael Wood Jr. and asked them to return the funds, the Standing Rock money, give it back. It shows Leonard Crowdog, and next to him is Wesley Clark. Would you read this? It talks about there's a petition. It's of course at this point closed, but this is what it said. Could you please read it?
I'll try. According to the page, it says, Wes Clark Jr. and Michael Wood set up a GoFundMe account under the guise of helping veterans travel to Standing Rock, North Dakota. According to the page, the funds we raise on this page will go towards providing transportation and supplies for the brave patriots that come and stand with us. And the more than 1,150,000 that has been raised has been donated. Zero of the money has been distributed, and despite having masterminded the money raiser under his own name, Clark now claims he does not have access to the money, even though the account is still openly accepting donations, ? We believe that if you are going to solicit donations for a cause and people give you money for a certain reason, you better distribute for that very reason in the manner you said you would. For these and other reasons, we call on Wesley Clark Jr. and Michael Wood to immediately refund every dollar that was obtained through fraud. Until they do, the damage caused to future legitimate actions remains incalculable.
And one of the people that signed that petition and demanded that Wes return the money and told his story of going out to Standing Rock was Stephen L. Day.
Yes.
And he was pretty upset. This is what he had to say on a post. And let me just say that this is from about a year ago. Okay. He says, after viewing a video instructing Standing Rock vets to, quote, generate an expense report, I sent emails to veteransstandreimbursement.com. The email address was, quote, not found, close quote. So the first thing he's saying is the instructions that you gave for people to even get reimbursed don't work.
Didn't work. Yeah.
And remember, we know they didn't help Kathleen.
Mm-hmm.
That they didn't help Mary Trujillo. That they did not help Brennan.
Yeah.
We know that the Veterans Stand for Standing Rock has forgotten about Carl Keene, the man that was nearly killed in a car accident by one of the operations people that they had managing an entire state of veterans that they hauled out there in SUVs.
Yeah.
One of which hit by trying to go around traffic in a no passing section of a road that was leading to the camp, driving head on into Carl Keene's vehicle and severely injuring several people, including nearly killing him and almost severing his spine.
Yeah.
They didn't help him.
No.
They left with him with all his medical bills. I told Wes about Carl Keene. So he's known about all of the chaos, all of the body parts left in the wake, all of the suffering, all of it. It doesn't seem to have negatively affected any of these people who knew about it, who were told about it. I know for a fact Francis Fisher knows about Mary Trujillo and Kathleen Bennett.
Yeah.
And she
did nothing
but continue to support the people that were involved. Did nothing but continue to support the people that were involved in doing these things. Because she was always with the people involved in doing these things. Doing Kathleen Bennett that way was part of their plan. They did intend to exploit and abuse and hurt people. They did intend for those things to happen. They knew there would be casualties, and they didn't give a damn.
Yeah.
Here's what he said further. He said, I went on my own to Standing Rock before Wes Clark Jr.'s December call. So I'm amiss feeling fully plugged to the stand, and I departed Eagle Nest just hours before the vets arrived in February. This is my March 3rd, 2017 email message and additional information that I posted on the Respond sign up. So please advise. And this was the email that he originally sent. Which I'm assuming they also ignored. Like they ignored everything else, right? He says, hello. I can't see it anymore, so I can't read it. Are we losing packets again?
No.
He says, hello. I would like to generate an official expense report for my February 1st, 2017 return home from Standing Rock and apply for reimbursements of $488.30. Fuel and lodging. Can you keep reading, honey?
Yeah, we're not broadcasting.
Oh, well, you want to wait for a second?
Yeah, it's on 0 kilobytes. Hold on a second.
I don't know why.
We have plenty of ping.
You have plenty of internet, and it's just being weird and bizarro.
We're still on over there.
Why are you being difficult?
Yeah. At 0 kilobytes transmitting.
On our end continues and plays, or should at least play smoothly, on replay after the show has been, played on Facebook. But for some reason, it wasn't doing that. It simply would not go from to yellow to green.
Oh, they zeroed us out. We were still streaming, but for some reason, Facebook dumped us.
Facebook dumped us.
Because everything else is fine here. So
what
there might be their keys
reason?
they give you. They give you these keys. And at some point they expire or something. I've heard of that happening. It's not been very clear. I was told it's 4 hours. 4 hours for a key.
Well,
but we were at
it doesn't make any sense.
we were at the 2.5 hours.
Okay then.
So
Well,
I don't know. We'll see.
Let me. Oh shoot! Can you? Hold on a second.
Oh yeah. Go get your stuff. When you get to stop, you go get yourself a drink of water or something, but cool off a little bit. Sit in the chair for a little while. But we're at
okay. Where did we get stuck at?
we're stuck at.
We were talking about the money, right?
Yeah, we're ready to talk about the money.
Did you get done? Did we get through the?
Nope.
Okay, so if you're just joining this is the Mexican Crossing Lines. This is part 2 of the Gift of Gab. We started off with Tulsi Gabbard. We went through the people that were listed by Wes as the people that invited him out to Standing Rock, and kind of through the last shows since I first played that clip, I've been trying to go through that list and show you more about each of those people and how they're connected to Wes and how they're connected to Standing Rock, what they're doing now, and how weird it is that they all seem to have some extremely conservative and are all closely affiliated with the alt-right and Trump's supporters than they ever let on before. Like, it's kind of eerie and also disturbing. And many of them were affiliated with the Jill Stein campaign, and many of them were affiliated with the Bernie Sanders campaign, and many of them got their origin story right there at Standing Rock, along with Tulsi Gabbard. She was there, and Linda Sarsour, and many others. Okay? And did we finish reading everything that Stephen L. Day said?
Nope, we were just about to read the email he sent.
Okay. So what we were showing you in part 1, where we had just left off, was what was it, a petition? An online petition demanding that Wes Clark Jr. and Michael A. Wood Jr. return the Standing Rock money that they fraudulently took. That's what the petition says. I'm summarizing. We just went over what it said in the last part 1 of The Gift of Gab. If you didn't see that, go back and watch it. And this GoFundMe had comments underneath it, one of which was Stephen L. Day's, where he's requesting that he be reimbursed like he was told he would be if he signed up on that roster, and that they said they would only reimburse a certain limited number of people.
Yeah, if they're on the list ahead of time. And then he talked about he watched the video. And actually, I saw that video. It was Sadef. Sadef was giving that video of telling people how to get reimbursement. It was the first time I actually saw her. Mm-hmm. And so he is referencing that he'd watched this video that gave you a specific way to get reimbursements, and gave him an email to send your information, the forms you filled out, and it was a dead email. The email didn't exist. And so now he wants to tell us exactly what he said in that email.
This is a woman we told you now has clearance to have the data for all of these people at Activision. People that do Call of Duty and all of these other very, I know they probably have connections to the military because they do so many first-person shooter type games. And Sadef now works for them.
Yeah.
And she didn't get there. She didn't climb this ladder of success to be in the position where she's at now had she not worked for, because she has no veteran adjacent experience of anything other than Standing Rock.
Yeah.
And then she went on to work from there at FEMA certified and DHS certified. What was it called? The Rubicon group?
Yeah,
The disaster relief group?
Yeah, geez, what was that?
And she was there with the Robin Gage as well.
Mm-hmm. Got a presidential mention and all that stuff.
Yeah, a letter from Trump of appreciation and some kind of award. So again, they did not really seem to intend to help anybody, not even the veterans.
Yeah, that's what it was for.
But I mean, people like Carl Keene were injured. People like Kathleen Bennett were injured. People like Mary Trujillo were injured. Mm-hmm. Their family, they were all harmed. There were a lot of people that were literally physically harmed and had their freedom taken away and could have lost their lives and possibly did at an early, well, Mary for sure did.
Yeah.
Earlier than she should have because of what these people did. And, here is one of the veterans that went there several times to help. He claims he went there earlier, and there's proof of it. Mm-hmm. So he says, I wasn't very directly connected to that stand part where you came out with, Wes, but because I already been there before, I was already supporting this whole thing. But I am a veteran, and I did sign the thing that you said you would reimburse people under.
And came back,
I would like to know more about that. So you can want to finish reading that, please?
Yeah. Hello, I'd like to generate an official expense report for my February 01, 2017 return home from Standing Rock and apply for reimbursement of $488.13. Fuel and lodging. I can prove these expenses on February 19th statement from the credit card bank I used. I arrived at Ossetti-Chacon Camp November 20th, 2016. Already there and learning of the December 4th through 7th veteran stand action. I checked going for the Facebook event. I signed the roster upon entering the assembly at Sitting Bull College in early January. I signed up on a veteran stand website for future deployments. Today I registered with Veterans Respond. I stayed with veterans who follow Chief J.R. American Horse. I walked with him upon his compliance with the December 5th request that he leave Ossetti-Chacon and rode out with him again when he returned by invitation, but was blocked at a south gate by a Veterans for Peace contingent. After my late December round trip home with Clark Jr., after my December round trip home with Clark Jr., weak vet recruit Albert S., and returning to Standing Rock with a trailer of firewood and other hard donations, I worked with JR at Eagle Nest Kitchen during January to close in the structure started there by Joseph H. and others and set it into operation with Ronnie M. I personally covered my November expenses, albeit, and I got partial support from our North Dakota, California, North ND December round trip through a GoFund account we all set up, which did not reach our goal. I am grateful at age 70 for the arrival of the Veterans Respond personnel immediately upon my departure, and forever hold the Standing Rock experience close in my heart. Please advise me how to proceed. Thank you, L. Stephen Day.
I wonder if he ever got...
I'm sure he didn't get anything.
I'm sure he didn't get any... Well, they didn't do anything for people that they severely hurt and could be held liable for.
Yeah.
They didn't seem to care. Here is how telling the transformation of these people are. You remember Cassandra Fairbanks?
Mm-hmm.
The lady, the American lady that works for Russians.
Yeah, the Sputnik
The
chick.
propaganda for the Kremlin, Sputnik, and other alt-right publications like...
Friend of Roger Stone's.
Mm-hmm. She's friends with Roger Stone. This is one of her more recent tweets. And she's tweeting about Russia, who she works for.
Wow.
And she says, if Russia was involved, it sounds like they were just trying to bring back democracy to America by exposing the corrupt media and Democratic Party. How nice of them.
Wow.
Thanks, Russia. Love to Mother Russia.
Mm-hmm.
What in the hell?
Yeah.
Remember the last show I showed you those people with their I'd rather be Russian than Democrat t-shirts? And they're all wearing MAGA hats?
Yep.
These are people that freak out if black athletes kneel before the flag. But they're ready to defect to another country or let this country be taken over as a satellite of Russia? Are you Russians or are you Americans?
Yeah.
These people are traitors. And, you know, a lot of them like to celebrate the other traitor's flag, the Confederate one.
Yes, exactly.
Wouldn't you know? So, here's another post that kind of indicates where these people were always headed and always were. This is, of course, Katie Johnstone, the woman that was interviewing the guy that was talking about the Holocaust denier that was talking about sex slave children on Mars.
Oh, yes. I remember that.
And look who they're posting about. None other than the friend of Jeffrey Haas, the lawyer for the WPLC, who was fired by BJ Nastasio. The friend Roy McGovern is who they're talking about, and how he was quote unquote brutalized by police at Haspel's confirmation. And remember that video that video was shot by Terrence Daniels, another Ed Higgins friend, another friend of all of these people.
Yeah.
And Katie Johnstone was in that video with Cassandra Fairbanks when they were doing the Assange Fest with people from the alt-right in the video.
Yep.
Okay? The Assange-a-thon.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, he's retweeting, or he's resharing Katie Johnstone, and he's saying, truth. And Katie Johnstone say, Ray McGovern is America's conscience. His treatment here, after condemning torture, says everything there is to say about the U.S. government.
Okay.
And then, of course, you had Credico, the comedian, that was supposedly the conduit between Roger Stone and, you know, the Guccifer 2.0, and the information that was leaked in WikiLeaks by Julian Assange, shows up and does a similar thing where he gets arrested and kicked out at the White House press dinner.
That's right.
Remember that?
Correspondence dinner, yes, I do.
They appeared on Lee Camp's show, and they were on Russian television going, this is horrible, and nobody else cared.
Yeah, exactly.
And of course, there's the connection that he talked about to Flint, Michigan, to the Wolves Den, and, you know, what happened at Camp Promise. And I showed you how Alan Altanuk was connected to that camp. How what's the name of the guy? Ryan Laurie?
Ryan Laurie, yeah.
The Nazi guy that was running the camp was also a veteran. Had gone also to Standing Rock. And I was trying to ask Wes, did he know him? Did they all, were they all supposed to go to Flint afterwards? Because, you know, he said he got kicked out. He left in a plane that, a private plane that one of his friends chartered to get him out of there because he thought he was going to get killed. And he had nothing to do with the veteran stand stuff anymore. And he had nothing to do with the money. But yet, I showed you by his own texts to Michael Wood Jr. 4 days after he left Standing Rock, he was still in control of the PR person he hired to go out there, Seven McDonald, excuse me. And Wes was telling Michael A. Wood Jr., don't worry, she's whipping up a press release about the money.
Yeah.
Our PR person has got the spin. It's coming. We're going to let the public know. Right?
Yep.
And so he told me two different things. There was nothing that he was involved with. Then I see an interview of him with Sean Stone on Russian television say, well, I don't have anything to do anymore with it, but I support whatever they're doing. And that's when they were going out to Flint. So you were giving mixed messages, and I'm sure that's probably why Chelsea Lyons Kent tried to reach out to you, and why Evan Duke III tried to reach out to you to get you to go out there. Here's Chelsea at the People's Summit, and of course next to her is Yane Indigo, who was Maggie's friend, who's one of those Hollywood people that's one of those rich ladies that knows, like Sarah Pipes or Lopez, that knows people in the media and that know celebrities, and they rub up against people with money. So here, rubbing up against her is Angelo Sison, or Angelo Wolf, as he tried to name himself to appear to be more indigenous, even though he is Filipino. Mr. Sison has, after Standing Rock, went to Flint to squat in a house where he and Chelsea both left without paying over $2,000 in rent after trashing the location and embarrassing the town and taking resources that the people there actually needed. Using it as a jumping off point for other crimes they would commit in the future. For Chelsea, that included raping a woman. And here you have Chase and Chelsea at the same place. Chase managed to get a bunch of people arrested at the last child camp. Remember him? And I told you that the Lakota Law Project was recently tweeting about raising money for him because he's about to go where no other Indian has gone before.
To court.
Into court. Like, no, they're making this big case about how they're going to hold Tiger Swan accountable. They keep trying to show you, look over here, Tiger Swan, they're responsible for everything. They're the ones, not us. But in actuality, it's Chase. Chase is responsible. I don't know how long they will continue to dupe you with this fake lawsuit. And the charges that they're actually facing are for inciting a riot. And he did organize. No matter what he tells you, he and a lot of other people did directly organize and raise money for and put people in charge of certain things. He, for example, was one of the people that Bill Running Fisher, the mercenary paid by the Veteran Stand for Standing Rock's Sadaf Buyakataman specifically, told me in an interview that this guy, Chase Iron Eyes, put L'Oreal Blackshaw in charge of the camp security, and that he, along with Face Spotted Eagle, Arvel Looking Horse, and the headsman, gave those vets orders on what to do at the camp. One of the things they did was to remove Mary Trujillo to a hospital and have her daughter arrested. Falsely. Completely, maliciously, and falsely. And I told them that they were adjacent to the people directly involved, and they ignored it, and they covered it up. They did. They covered up a crime against a Lakota elder and her daughter, and they didn't care. None of them cared. And now they want you to give them money so that they can blame all of this. They can keep you thinking This is all the Tiger Swan people, and when we depose them, oh my God, the information will be able to prove so much. This is like when they kept telling you that Courtney Doctor and Kyle Thompson were the key to everyone going free. Everyone was going to go free, and all the charges were going to get dropped. And where did that go? Big fat nothing sandwich, remember? But they were raising money, and they were traveling around the country. They had to protect them. And the WPLC was like posting about them. It was disgusting. Here's the video the Lakota Law Project posted. Go ahead and play that, please. It's ridiculous, by the way.
Yeah.
My name is Dan Sheehan. I'm the Chief Defense Attorney for Chase Iron Eyes, the sole person in North Dakota who's been charged with inciting a riot against the Dakota Access Pipeline. Just this past week, Chase Iron Eyes has filed his necessity defense with the court, asserting that the actions that they took were necessary in order to stop an existential threat.
They are committed to staying in an act of unarmed civil resistance to what we consider an illegal pipeline.
And if anybody else gets hurt, you're going to get charged for whatever anybody's hurt for because you organized this.
I did not organize this. We don't have a hierarchy. We're not organized like that.
The Dakota Access Pipeline was a threat to their water. It was drilled directly under their sole source of drinking water. And when they challenged this, the Dakota Access Pipeline Corporation called into the state of North Dakota the Tiger Swan Private Military Corporation from North Carolina. We have now demanded the right to subpoena this military security company and to prove that they were racially targeting the Lakota people as domestic indigenous jihadist terrorists. They don't want the truth to come out. They don't want the truth to come out about the private military corporation joining with the petroleum industry to try to crush opposition to this massive campaign to build thousands of miles of pipelines here under the North American continent. So we are here to uncover the truth. That is the purpose of these depositions, to put them under oath, to show that they mounted a full campaign to crush the opposition to these pipelines in North America. The prosecution is taking the position that if they're compelled to go to North Carolina to cover these depositions, we have to cover all the expenses for the state prosecution team and for counsel to come from North Dakota for Tiger Swan. We need to be able to assert to the court that we are prepared to pay those costs if it's necessary, and we need your help now. So go to lakotalaw.org. Thank you very much.
Wow.
So let me just point out that Tiger Swan by the Intercept articles that were put out, were out of there, I think, at that point.
Yeah.
But maybe this isn't just all a ploy to get a bunch more money for the Lakota Law Project that just gets lined into the pockets of Mr. Sheehan and Mr. Iron Eyes and whoever else they plan to split it with, because they literally had Chase as the only plaintiff, the only defendant, the only person they were representing, other than Holy Elk Lafferty, whose case was recently resolved, right?
Yeah.
I believe. And I think, didn't she take a deferred sentence as well?
I'm not sure. I can't remember.
I can't remember for sure either, to be honest. But we did talk about it at one point. But what really cheeses me off about that video is the part where the officer says to him, if anything happens here, if anybody is hurt, you're going to be held responsible for it. And he goes, I didn't organize this.
That's right.
Yes, you did. You and your buddies did. And there's a lot of evidence of it all over Facebook and social media. your big mouth and you and your wife and your daughters and your Hollywood friends and your Hollywood connections. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. We've documented it all. And you are liable. So if you want to keep on putting money in Chase Iron Eye's war chest so that he can defend himself from all of the stuff that he has been perpetrating, including recently going with the justice delegation to Israel, along with a group of people that are considered to have included someone affiliated with what Israel considers to be a terrorist group.
Yeah.
A group that wants to end the Israeli state and exterminate it and its people. BDS movement. And Linda Sarsour. So that is what these folks are affiliating themselves with and to. And he's also been hanging out with, talking in front of a lot of Green Party events. Again, I'm noticing this pattern, and I wanted you to notice it as well. And in addition to that, Angelo was in those Intercept article leaks, and this is from Soft Rep, but you can see that there was a targeting. This was one of the people that they were targeting for possible blackmail, or they thought would be vulnerable to exploitation or whatever. Yeah, I think a lot of these people are probably vulnerable to exploitation. Yeah. If by that you mean that they're either money hungry or power hungry or attention hungry. Mm-hmm. Yeah, all of these people were definitely those things. And here there's Angelo and Tiger Swan. He was, of course, in Flint. You can keep going, honey. Where they were mocking at the Flint house, Flint Flop house, these women, Chelsea Lyons, including that lady from Women Indigenous Media, and also Lolly B. Yeah. They were mocking the fact that Tiger Swan was present at Standing Rock by dressing up as tiger swans. Yeah. And next we have a conversation that Wes Clark shared with me, a text messages in which he was talking to, I can't tell.
It says Evan Duke in here in Flint.
Oh, it's Evan Duke. Yeah, and I think Wes sent this to me saying that he wouldn't answer, he wouldn't pick up Evan's phone call, so Evan texted him instead and said, "You got a minute to talk anytime soon, Wes?" And Wes said, "I don't trust anyone right now. This phone is probably tapped and monitored by multiple agencies and nation states."
Yeah.
And that's why, and that's exactly what he said below there. And what did it say all the way at the top, though? So he'd spoken to him or texted with him before, and he says, "Do with activism or any of you again." I don't want to have anything to do with activism or any of you again. And he says, "Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I know we didn't spend much time together, but and there's more, and we don't know what it was."
Yep.
And next, there is one recent post of Evan Duke's, just to give you an update of where are they now.
Yeah.
Where are the crazy people associated with the Veterans Stand for Standing Rock and Tulsi Gabbard's arrival there and all that? Why? And an Antifa rally.
Yeah.
An Antifa rally. Does that make you feel safer, Duke?
No, not at all. Wow.
Dear God, help us.
They're still out there. They're still doing more damage.
More damage. And here's another Wes Clark text thing he sent me where he says, "Chelsea Lyons messaged me on Facebook last night for the first time ever." Like we're supposed to believe Wesley didn't ever know anything about Chelsea Lyons or Eddie Higgins or any of these people that Maggie and all these other people knew.
Like Mike Fazzik. I don't know anything. I don't know.
7. I just met her. Chelsea Lyons, for the first time ever, trying to get me involved in Flint.
Yeah.
Saying the city needs a movement just like the vet deployment to
yeah.
Standing Rock. Well, you put that idea out there in the first place.
Yeah, he was going to go there next.
She says, glad to have you in the Flint chat. And he says,
Yeah.
wasn't on it, but it kept notifying me with every message. Can you all take me off that? I quite literally do not trust anyone, and I'm done with activism. Pretty sure you can do activism whether or not you trust people, says Chelsea Lyons.
Yeah. Yeah, no one trusts her.
But remember in a recent post that I showed where people were asking about getting a group of veterans together to help with, detention center situations going on right now where people protest, and he's like, I'm thinking about it. And I'm like, so conveniently when he wants to, he jumps in and starts talking to and mobilizing people to do these things that he claims he's not wanting to involve himself at all anymore.
Exactly.
And next, you'll see what else they've been involving themselves in, which is the missing and murdered Indigenous women.
Yeah.
They all want to get paid. What's the thing that we can astroturf? Oh, dead and missing Indigenous women?
Yep.
Yes. I want to get paid. So here's Angelo trying to get paid on the Red Ribbon Alert project.
Yeah.
He didn't raise enough money for his Kickstarter, though.
No.
And he also was selling T-shirts. Selling the T-shirts. One of the people in the T-shirts there that he's been trying to peddle is a guy that's got that weird hat there. You see the guy with the hat? Not that one. That guy's also got a weird hat.
Right, yes.
To be fair, there are 4 people with 5 people. There's 4 people with hats and one. There's only one person in all of these pictures without a hat. That was a horrible way to try to draw your attention to the guy with the big red beard. There's no other bearded people in these pictures, so I should have said that. And he's standing next to a well-known Native American. Well, I don't think he's actually Native American, but his name is Wes Studi. Is he really Native American?
I don't know.
He does play Native American in a lot of movies.
On movies, yeah.
Yeah.
But they're famous for not having Native Americans play Native Americans in the movies.
That's true. I think he really is one, though.
What?
I hope I'm not wrong about that, because there's so many fake Indians in my stories, in the stories of Standing Rock. It's quite literally heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And of course, it's also, it's kind of disheartening how many of these folks that went out there to stand with the people as allies turned out to just be, attention getting and looking for a place to build their political career. Like, y'all were just using the opportunity to exploit it for a PR stunt. It's beyond gross. And taking, using the goodwill of the public, supposedly, so you could go and stand with the Indians and help them. You think black students, Jeff Day thinks black students in a mostly black school should be beat by their teachers like animals. He talks about them like they're out of control animals. He says, compares the schools to prisons. Like these kids are criminal just because they're black. But we're supposed to believe that he likes to stand and try to defend Indigenous people being abused by racist police in North Dakota? Really? Really?
Yeah.
And look at the homophobia just below the surface. Look at the racism, the white savior syndrome is just below the surface of all of these people. And their adjacentness, their closeness, their willingness to get in bed with alt-right Nazi racists and Trump supporters. I don't think that's an accident.
No.
Here's a Vice article in which this guy that you just saw in that picture with the big furry hat that looks like a Russian hat. His name is Mahmoud Fatil, and he appears in that picture next to Wes Studi, the actor. And I brought him up before. He's with the Democratic Socialists, and I think also associated very closely to Jane Klebe and Bold, Nebraska, where Carol Dix, the lady that gave us money for the Kathleen Bennett case,
Yes.
is from. The last time I talked to Carol, which is a very long time ago, when I mentioned this guy's name, she became very, very agitated for some reason, very upset. Mahmoud Fitil.
Okay.
I was shocked to see who all Mahmoud Fitil was connected to. In this article, he appears wearing a Bernie shirt for president. Okay. And in the next photo here, he is with closer to West Studi. That's the picture.
That's a picture.
Of course, that's him posting it. What does it say there next to what he said? Where he at?
Let's see, I gotta make it a little bit bigger. Met Wes Studi last night in Des Moines, Iowa. Great actor. It was a pleasure to speak with him. Very personable, and he spent some time with us water protectors up at Standing Rock, telling ETP no dabble. Rocked my Stolen Lands shirt designed by my brother Angelo Sison for unseated clothing.
His brother.
It's his brother. Okay.
My brothers, huh? What is he connected to?
Defend the Sacred. Attending Sold Out, a night with Wes Studi.
Okay, keep going. The next one, please.
Oh.
Just keep going. Oh, Bernie Sanders.
Bernie Sanders.
Wow. He got a picture with Bernie Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. How lucky is he?
Yep.
And that is a flag that he's holding in a lot of pictures.
Yeah.
He is from one of the, I think he's from the Ukraine or Turkey, Crimea.
This is Crimea.
That's Crimea.
Yes.
Okay, that's the flag of Crimea. He has that a lot. He also takes pictures next to the Turkish flag. So here's one where he's with Joy Brunn of the Indigenous Environmental Network at the Wakpa-Sikat Historical Society. So they was hanging out in June.
Mm-hmm.
And then here he is with Jane Klebe.
Wow.
Of Bold, Nebraska. None other than. And let me just tell you, Jane Klebe from Nebraska is close to and connected to the head of the Democratic Party in Nebraska, who is none other than the father of Menape Lemaire, the man that ordered Kathleen Bennett to be removed from camp and arrested. The man that ordered for Mary Trujillo to be taken to a hospital and left there to die. That's the son of none other than the head of the Democratic Party, the meth dealer that did a stint in prison for dealing meth.
Yeah, the headsman.
The headsman?
Yeah.
Menape George Lemaire is the son, adopted son, not biological son, of Frank Lemaire, the head of the Democratic Party in Nebraska.
Yep.
And close to, working closely with Jane Klebe, and so is Menape, and so is Mahmoud.
Yep.
Why do you think Menape ended up talking to the governor of North Dakota in the closing of the camps? Because he was connected to all these people.
Yep.
Dallas Goldtooth brought him in. Look at what Mahmoud Fitil is posting about here. Why, it's none other than the video of women indigenous media.
Yes. Yep.
One of the Myron Dewey media groups that was created from that, what was Myron Dewey's network?
Digital Smoke Signals.
I try to block them out of my brain now.
Yep.
But he's posting, and the video is the Women Indigenous Media video made about Lacey Jean Williams' rape by Michael Fassig's son, Derek Fassig, for which he was recently convicted. Derek Fassig is the son of Mike Fassig, both of which gave statements on behalf of for the state,
Yep.
for Morton County,
Yep.
against water protectors, both of whom were witnesses against people that went to Standing Rock, like Kathleen Bennett.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of people in the camp, including Mulaney and Olive Bias, Michael Marcus's girlfriend or Lakota wife, whatever
Yeah.
she is, statements that were given to police that put an innocent woman in jail.
Mm-hmm.
That's the same thing that Marcus and his son were doing. That's Vassig and his son, were doing.
Yeah, exactly.
And that Marcus was also doing.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these people were giving false statements against people that were innocent that were there. You haven't picked up on this?
Yeah.
They're getting people arrested. That's what they were doing. And then, of course, we saw Manape go with the Nexus lady, right? There's Manape. Mahmoud Fatil was hanging out with Akichida, Hoksida, otherwise Manape, otherwise George Lemaire, convicted felon, ex-meth dealer. And he is, can you go back to that picture? Because it's very important picture. I want you to see who's in that picture with him. Right behind Manape, Lemaire, and next to Mahmoud Fatil is the chairman, Harold Frazier, of the Cheyenne River Sioux tribe. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So they're in tight with all the leaders of the tribes in addition to. Right?
Yep.
These are the people that they were brokering the deals directly with. Phyllis Young, right?
Mm-hmm.
Phyllis Young, Faith Spotted Eagle looking, Arvo looking horse.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Mulaney's mama. Mulaney.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
There's the movers and the shakers and the policymakers. Archambault. And here's a picture of Mahmoud back home, from back home. That's what he does on his spare time.
Wow.
Or that's at least what he did.
Mm-hmm.
Well, can you describe what's in the picture you see there?
Bunch of guns, people in camouflage, their faces all covered in masks.
That's a group of mercenaries.
Mercenaries.
And what do they have in their hands? Are those puppies?
No.
What the hell are they?
I have to enlarge it to actually see. Explosives. I don't know. I don't know what's in those bags.
Their hands, honey. What's in their hands?
Guns.
What kind of guns?
Well, they're military-style weapons. There's a machine gun there. Looks like all sorts of large-clipped machine guns, you know?
Yeah. Very
Assault
dangerous.
rifles, yeah.
These look like assault weapons, and they look like they're like in some remote location, like they're like some kind of, they're a mercenary group training for some operation or something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Here he is with people in Minnesota. No Spiritual Surrender. So he's connected to hashtag No Spiritual Surrender, which is that Ryan Vizen's white guy dude.
Yeah.
The hashtag Seeding Sovereignty, which is that Christine Nobis, the Bernie Sanders lady, connected to the fake Miwok Indian Desiree Kane, that's connected to all the other phonies, and also a friend of Wes, and Defend the Sacred. And they've tagged Christine Nobis. Oh, look.
Yep.
What did I just say?
Exactly.
And Mahmoud Fatil. So next one, we have Mahmoud and Prolific, the rapper. One of those other people that was being represented by Patrick, the lawyer that was in Japan and Taiwan with Myron Dewey recently, telling them to divest.
Yep.
Here they are with the tribe called Red. Oh, and Prolific, the rapper. So man, he's just
making
adjacent
rounds
to all of the people connected to Standing Rock, and they're not at Standing Rock. They're like looking at it like they're at a concert. This is after No, this looks like November 8, 2016.
Okay.
So, no, this is a year. This is after.
17.
So they're still hanging out. They're still kicking it.
Yep.
They're on the junket tour. They're on the tour of the Awake tours, all these tours that all these phonies are taking.
Yep.
Making a name and claiming the fame, right?
Yep. Exactly.
Keep going, honey.
Here we go.
Here's, there
Wania.
she is. Wania Locke.
Yes.
Wania Locke, one of those very famous people that first started calling people out like Mama Ladana.
Yep.
And who else is he hanging out with? The picture of the phony ladies that were making the call out and kept all the money wouldn't be complete without who? Why, it's Winona LaDuke.
Exactly.
And there he is holding his little flag again, the Crimean flag. And here in the next picture, he is with the Turkish flag and the Crimean flag.
Yes.
So, wonder how he feels about Erdogan. Next, we have a picture of him with a whole bunch of people, including Mulaney. Yes, the kidnapper in the Kathleen Bennett case. She's right where that Wells Fargo murders of communities, of women, and next to a couple of people away from her, to the right in the photo, in a white shirt, is none other than Faith.
Yes.
Spotted Eagle.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, it is very easy to spot Mahmoud Fitil in the big red shirt with the white sign behind them that says big, bring back Wamble something, because he has a red beard.
Yep.
As usual, you can see. And they are at an event, in fact, all these people in an event that is trying to bring awareness of the missing and murdered indigenous women that recently has gotten so much attention, and the government, the federal government, is now going to be allotting some $56 million to the people that are doing the work. I told you Mulaney would be lining up. Where do I cash in on my crime that I committed?
Exactly.
I tried to make it look like I was the hero that saved an elderly dementia woman, and we were going to say she was raped, and I saved her.
Yeah.
And then she had to preside over or, talk about the rape of her own daughter, or well, it's not really her blood daughter, but the child that she is the foster parent of, I guess. And she's using that as a jumping off point. It seems really
got to rebuild her career.
Yeah, it seems very exploitative. And next, we have the posting of who I believe is Holyoke Lafferty in this the one that posted this video.
Yeah.
And or it could be Mulaney herself, but it was a video that was made by Digital Smoke Signals, as you can see there.
Yeah.
And would you please read what it says?
And Mission, South Dakota for missing, it's kind of blurry, MMIW Summit presenting a proclamation for Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women Day by the Rosebud Sioux Tribe. The Rosebud Sioux Tribe does hereby proclaim Saturday, May 5th, 2018 as Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women's Awareness Day.
Now, I want you to scroll all the way to the bottom. And I'm going to go through this list of people that were there present at this event to declare the Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women Day, okay? It's kind of a who's who of people that orchestrated the operation with Russian sabotage that are now trying to cash in on dead and missing indigenous women when they didn't give a rip about what they did, the carnage they left behind at Standing Rock to people like Kathleen Bennett and her mom. These people need to be held accountable. as does Wes. And they didn't just hurt her, they hurt other people like Carl Keene. These people are responsible for the theft and defrauding of millions and millions of dollars. And one of them is Faith Spotted Eagle, right?
Yep.
Then we have, and it says, White Buffalo Calf Women's Society.
Yeah.
And the Braveheart Society. And there's Mulaney Stoneman. Braveheart Society. And then Judith LeBlanc of the Caddo First Nation. I don't know who that is. Rebecca Tork, the Dakota Rural Alliance. And then there's Christine Nobis. Seeding Sovereignty, Indigenous Iowa. She's the one that did that horrible picture with, or that was circulating, the horrible picture of the Virgin of Guadalupe / Mary-looking figure, which they took from our culture and put guns on it and oil and all sorts of crazy crap.
Yeah.
Very disrespectful to our culture and our deities. And then Sharon Drapeau and the Deborah Parker, of course, is the Tulalip, and she is the wife of Myron Dewey.
Oh, okay.
Myron and his wife are getting their fingers. That's why Myron was saying in this latest video, I'm not a drone pilot no more. I'm not trying to educate people about traditional trauma and all the crap he was saying at Standing Rock. Now he's all into the missing and murdered Indigenous women stuff. That's what he was always about. That's what he... And Louis Grassrope, one of the people that, along with Menape, had an Indigenous woman kidnapped, sent her away, made her go missing from her family for 6 months and nearly killed her. Here he is. The nerve.
Yeah.
The indecency of this
is
astonishing.
Look who's after him.
Menape la mierda.
Wow.
Menape la mierda. They even spelled it wrong. It's La Mer.
Yep.
But see, they've Lmier.
Yeah.
Which is not how his name is spelled, unless he's trying to hide the true spelling of his name, since everybody knows
that
he's a meth dealer and a criminal and an abusive man that took advantage of these two women and put one in an early grave. This is the man that you're supposed to trust with missing women.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. And who else do we have on here? Inkpa Money, Janet Rosen, and of course it says Christine Nobis posted, or must have posted this, I guess. And it says the summit is led by the White Buffalo Calf Women's Society, the Braveheart Society. Those are all Faith Spotted Eagle and Mulaney. Native Organizers Alliance, Native Women's Society of the Great Plains, and the video is property of Oceti, blah, 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 blah. Seeding Sovereignty, Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women. And of course, LaDonna is all over this stuff as well. But right now, she's in Portugal, as I told you, hanging out with Chase's daughter, Tocata Iron Eyes.
Yeah.
And this is where they are. Tamara is called. And I think that they're at some, bio something where they do that. They're peddling different kinds of energy. Like solar and wind and things like that. And and the next picture here, here's another person that went with her, the fake Miwok Indian, Desiree Kane. And she says, I am on sabbatical, kinda. And the best news I have is that I was given a friendship bracelet today on the beach. It's red.
Oh, man.
Hashtag winning. Oh, and we made the Portuguese national news. And of course, Allison Renville, the person that I showed you, told Josh and Ren that woman, Kathleen Bennett, was definitely guilty of hurting her mother. It would all be, she knew for a fact, she said, that defended it. That recently we showed you talking about Red Wolf Pope in the show Liar, Liar, Pants on Fire. Saying, we should have done something more to help women to avoid these kinds of things. How about you not telling people, Allison Renville, to shut up? How about you not trying to tamper with witnesses in a federal case and threaten them and trying to censor them? How about that? And of course she would be friends with fake Miwok Indian Desiree Kane. Yeah. Of course she is. So, moving right along, there is Wes Clark and Desiree Kane. And Wes Clark told me, this is a clip of me talking about my frustration with white saviors, white ladies, or people that have lived their entire effing lives as white people that champion white culture, that are Trump supporting, pipeline loving, extractive industry worshiping, and also white supremacy shilling people of color like Chase Iron Eyes and LaDonna, money grubbing people like Phyllis and Mulaney and all these other people that did their people the way that they did them and robbed them and defrauded them. All of those people might as well be white supremacists themselves. That's what they're advocating for, and they're hurting their people in the process. And I was expressing my anger and my frustration. I did so with somebody that was his girlfriend for a while, Remy, aka Jeremy Frendenberg, one of the people that you saw hanging out with the vets in those pictures that I showed you recently. And the other was with Wes Clark, and this is what I said, and this is what he said about a woman I know he's still friends with, Desiree Kane. Yeah. And people like these white women that, you know, want to fuck their way into the Native American culture, and then, you know, even like Christina Hollenbeck and Desiree Kane, and then they start, like Desiree Kane, start masquerading like, I'm an Indian. Just realized it yesterday. Guess what? Indian now. And it's really fucking weird because they're like fucking their way into people's cultures.
Yeah. It's weird as fuck.
And
there's ulterior motives. That's the other thing.
Oh, for sure. Definitely. I mean, I've been watching what Desiree Kane has been getting into. And they're trying to co-opt all of these Native American issues the way that they did with Standing Rock.
Is Christina Hollenbeck helping her?
Christina Hollenbeck's been working in the background this whole time, yeah.
Because I only saw them together once or twice at camp, and they didn't seem like they knew each other.
Desiree and Christina?
Yeah, but that was only like, I was only there a week.
Well, you know, if there were operatives sent in to work on a specific group of people, they might have been assigned to different groups. Who knows?
That's true.
Because Christina was always, you know, she's always been hovering. I may share more of my conversations with Wes on another show. But he told me originally, if you will recall, in the other show where I talked about Desiree Kane, and I shared the interview that I did get with her, the very short conversation I was able to get with her. He told me Desiree Kane was his friend, and he was concerned for her. And now we know she was working right along with all of the people that were doing the PR for the Veterans Stand for Standing Rock, and closely tied to the Bernie Sanders campaign and other political campaigns. Okay, so I hope y'all are paying attention. I find it very hard to believe that Mr. Clark could watch what was happening in the lives of so many people that were hurt by the people that he was supporting, that he put into place out there, and he did nothing about it. I also find it very suspicious that he recently changed his Facebook page and just kind of went hiding.
Yeah.
I find that to be both a sad and cowardly move, because a lot of people have questions about what happened at Standing Rock. And guess what? I know what you did at Standing Rock. I know what all of you did at Standing Rock. And we're going to keep telling the world here on A Mexican Crossing Lines on 88.1 FM KPPPLP Fargo Moorhead, where we are adding local color to your airwaves. Duke, say goodnight.
Good night, Duke. Pleasure spending the evening with you all. There's 2 parts. Make sure you go back and see the first part if you haven't seen the first part. Thank you very much. Good night, everybody.
Bye.